Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Talking Tradesmen. With me today in the studio, I've got Steve from SB Multi-Trade. Steve, let's talk, man.
How are we?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, cracking on.
Cracking on.
Cracking on is the easiest
Mate,
way to say it.
First of all, a massive thank you for giving up your time today. It's actually, although it won't be released, obviously on a day like today, it's Bank Holiday Sunday. So a massive thank you for giving up your time, coming up here today to sit down and talk about your story with me. Really appreciate it, mate.
No, appreciate it. It's grateful to be on.
Yeah.
To be fair, we've put my virginity for my first podcast.
That's it. Steve's first podcast. I'm sure it'll be the first of many.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see how this one goes. Yeah, fair play, mate. Explain who you are and what you do, I think is probably the first step.
So I am a nobody. No, I'm joking.
Don't say that, mate. Don't say that.
So I'm Steve, I run SB Multi-Trade. Have done since I was about 18 years old. So for about roughly 12 to 14 years we've been running now. Started off as just general sort of like chippy work sort of thing. And then you end up finishing everyone else's work. So then you end up turning
You're not a painter, are you?
No, it's not a trade.
Doors over there, mate. Doors over there.
No, I'm joking. No, but we end up multi-trade. You end up doing everything else. Didn't want to be classed as like a handyman, so I thought what's the next professional term for it, which was multi-trade, and that's where we went. So, but I've been in the building game since I was 15, 16 years old, something like that. And then, yeah, it's gone on to where we are. Well, I say it went into where we are. Van got turned over, obviously, and then, then now we work with alongside Trades United and other companies and go out further, basically, trying to tackle tool theft and mental health sides of it.
Well, we'll get to that, mate. I mean, the things we're going to cover today, obviously your own personal sort of mental health story and journey, which I know tool theft has got a massive part. But like you said, you're doing a lot of work now with Trades United, marking tools, that kind of situation, all the tool theft rallies, and you're heavily involved in all that. So we'll talk about that too, because obviously it's a huge part of mental health in construction, a huge pressure, stress and worry for a lot of people. Whereabouts are you?
So we're in Hertfordshire.
Okay. Yeah, and how is tool theft around there? Obviously it's an issue.
Rife, yeah. It's one van every 12 minutes.
One van every 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's the average across the UK at the current moment.
One livelihood every 12 minutes.
Yeah,
it's disgusting, isn't it?
Hertfordshire's been hit massively, hotels massively, merchants, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a pandemic in itself.
It is. It does. It seems to be worse in the cities, from what I can see. I mean, I know it. I'll touch wood, hopefully. Man. It's not too bad here, where I am, but I know like Birmingham, which isn't far away. Same things rife around there, and as you say, they're targeting things like service stations, hotels, and anywhere where there's a van. Really.
Well, there was someone the other day. I can't think of who it was. A plumber. Literally, his name's gone off the top of my head. He went into Sainsbury's. I think was to go get a bit of lunch. 15 minutes, come back, all his Milwaukee gear gone. And we all know Milwaukee's not cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you do work hard to get the nicer stuff, but yeah, gone. Gone within 15 minutes.
We're going to discuss it anyway, but just to make the point, because I said this pre-record while we were having a chat with another ex-guest of the podcast, Scott, but having a chat, and I said that I would rather somebody break it. Don't get me wrong, I don't want this either, but I would rather somebody break into my house and steal my telly than steal my tools, because without my tools I can't earn the money to buy another telly.
But with that, there would be a conviction as well.
Yeah. Well, so explain that one.
It's a win-win, yeah. So it's if someone breaks into your house, it's classed as burglary. If someone has a weapon in their hand, it's classed as aggravated burglary, which is a higher sentence. But if someone breaks into your van, it's currently at the minute, it's classed as theft from a motor vehicle, which is like, if you look at the chain of all the crimes that are going on in the UK, watch theft, phone theft, stabbing, shootings. Believe it or not, we get a hell of a lot of shootings in the UK.
Yeah.
It's getting to a point where we're getting quite close to America and shootings sort of thing. The police sort of look at the priorities. I mean, they're understaffed. They've got a no budget. So it's not the police aren't doing anything. They've got to sort of prioritise what's more serious here and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so theft from a motor vehicle is down here. Because 9 times out of 10 the insurance will pay out, where someone being stabbed is up here, obviously. So it comes in between. So they're not really getting looked at of sorts. And it's got to the point. It's got to the point where people are getting to the point where they're now seeing that the police aren't doing anything. It's not they're not doing anything, but because they're not acting on it as quick or as detailed as they should be, they don't even bother reporting it now. So then that sort of drops the statistics, because again, in an area, if tool for every single van was reported to the police, it would highlight that that is a massive issue, which then police forces and the police commissioner and all that sort of stuff would actually act on it a lot bigger. But where a lot of people aren't reporting it, the statistics aren't showing it's that high, which means then it's not a big problem.
And the reality, like, I mean, I know you've been through this, but just to highlight to anyone that's listening that don't really understand why it's so important and such an issue to tradespeople, if you take our tools away, we literally cannot work. So it's like somebody stealing your job and your livelihood, and the only way that you can feed your family in many cases, or support your family.
I mean, for people like myself, I could probably speak on a lot of tradespeople here, but I will only speak for myself, but it's all I've known. Yeah, once you're in a job career, it's all you know, and you feel like you get to the point of 30 and you think, too old now to bloody be learning anything else. So you think, I'm stuck here. This is what I'm doing now. So for a lot of people, if they have like an office job, and your laptop or your phone gets stolen, pain in the arse, don't get me wrong, but everything's updated to a cloud now and stuff like that. Within 24 hours, you've got another phone at your front door. Press a couple of buttons, give it a couple of hours, your phone's back to exactly how it was before it got nicked. And you carry on. And you can go from office to office to office sort of thing, and keep on job jumping, if you want to call it that. But with a tradesperson, their tools are the only thing they have. And some of the tools, I mean, all right, a lot of it's down to value, but there's also people that have had tools that have been passed down from generation to generation, so sentimental value as well. So,
and the other thing, like, Steve, because there might be people sat there going, well, you know, you have your tools, Nick, just go and rebuy them.
It's not as easy as that.
No, of course it's not.
I've been in the game on my own, properly, coming up, I said 12 to 14 years now, roughly, if I can work out the maths correctly. But I've only just got to a point with my collection, got that decent. Do you know what I mean? And you end up investing, you know yourself being in the trade. You could do a job with hand tools and stuff, for argument's sake. It takes 3 times as longer. Do you know what I mean? Which means then your profit is lower because you're not knocking the jobs out quicker.
Yeah.
Where then what you do is you invest in these power tools. So then a job that would normally take you 6 hours, you'd knock out in 2 hours, which means you get onto the next job quicker, which means you get paid quicker, which means you end up profiting a lot better. So you end up taking time to invest it. But again, it's not like some people have been fortunate enough where they come from a family with wealth. So it's not an issue. It's just, I'm starting my own company. Dad said he's going to bung me 15 grand to go buy a load of tools to get me started. I'll pay that back and as and when I can. I mean, fair play. If you are that person, mate, hats off to you. You've sort of skipped out a very hard stage of your career of starting a business. But a lot of us aren't like that. And a lot of us have literally started off from nothing. I mean, when I first ever started, I didn't even have a driving licence because I was on a driving ban. So I was getting to jobs. I had a trolley, I'll never forget it, a little trolley with all my boxes, my tool bags and all that stacked up on it. A couple of cheap Makita drills, like the DIY Makita drills. And I was getting buses and trains and cabs to jobs to do the job. And then people were like, well, where's your van? And you'd have to blag it. You'd go, oh, well, it's broke down, or clutch went, or this, that, the other, to make yourself not look like an idiot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's pause a moment to thank our headline sponsors, Zinsser, and let's talk about their product, Zinsser Bin. Zinsser Bin is a shellac-based formula, and it sticks to any surface without the need for sanding. It dries in 15 minutes and can be recoated in 45. Zinsser Bin blocks stains, knots, sap streaks and odours, including water stains, oil stains, mould, nicotine, pen and more. It really is a fantastic product. Let's get back to the episode.
So I was doing that for ages, and then at 21, I'd come off my ban sort of. It wasn't a ban, it was points as more, but they'd done it in a way that as soon as I got my licence, I'd get a ban anyway. So it was basically officially a ban anyway, but not official ban. So 21, all of that come off, so I went and done my licence. And then, when I bought my first van, Buddy, so I named all my motors. So Buddy was my little Peugeot partner. I had 350 quid. I'll never forget that thing as well, because to get insured on it, the company said I had to do a telematics thing on my phone. And I have to go and do a 100-mile drive with a score reading, so then they can see how your driving is. Because it had marks on them, so your speed, your braking, your turning, by like certain bits. So I think it was about 11:30 at night or something. I was already driving. I had a Fiesta then. I said, my missus, we've got to go for a drive. So I think it was about 12 midnight, something like that. We drove to Brighton.
For 100-mile drive.
For 100 miles on the app. I got a perfect score.
Yeah.
Then it didn't upload. It wouldn't upload. And I'd already bought the van. It was sitting on the geezer's driveway, and I said I'd have it collected before the morning.
Yeah.
So, in the end, I ended up having to day insure it and whatnot. 3:30 in the morning, I picked up my first van.
You know.
And then straight out of work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Do you know what, though, mate? I think the point we're making, though, is that, because I'm the same, like, Christ, I started my business out of the back of a Rover 214S.
Wow.
Like, yeah, first ever car.
Wow.
Worked out on my boot initially, and then it was, you take over the back seat. But, like, in my industry, we're painting and decorating, regardless of what you might think, it's changed a lot, mate. I mean, gone are the days. Yes, years ago, you could start up a decorating business with a few brushes, rollers, and dust sheets. Long gone, mate. I mean, you can still do that to a degree, but it depends what level you're working at.
Well, the industry's gone to a point now where you're using spray guns.
Sprayers,
machines,
mate,
like
dustless sanding systems.
Yeah.
Me personally, I mean, so I've built up my Fez tool collection of dustless sanders.
Ooh, you must be on big
exactly,
bucks.
mate.
Yeah,
exactly. But what you were talking about, you invest and you make the job quicker. But I didn't go out and buy it all at once. No, I started off with one sander, then the next year maybe another sander, then the next year maybe I've invested in a spray system. So you don't go out and buy it in one hit, because you are talking like tens of thousands to fully load up now,
if not
with
more,
all your tools and equipment.
Absolutely more. I mean, if you just said, like, everyone has their brand. Yeah, some people are Festival only, some people are Milwaukee, some people are Makita, DeWalt, Bosch, Ryobi, which I don't like to say. But some people have different brands. Now, obviously, we all know Milwaukee are a very good product, but you've got to have deep pockets for that sort of gear, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're fortunate enough to go out and buy a full Milwaukee kit, stack systems, the lot, you've got to have a big, deep pocket to just even start off with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you're that there. I know some people's kits that have taken ages to build up. And
that's the point, though, isn't it? We build up sort of like arsenal of kit and tools over years of business, and you're putting in a little bit of profit here, a little bit of profit there, a little bit. So if somebody comes and takes that away in the click of the fingers,
you've lost everything. You've
lost everything. But a lot of us, me included, I would not be in a position to go out tomorrow and repurchase everything that I own.
No, never.
In my business. I just ain't got it's too much money. So you then go to a point where somebody has literally stolen your livelihood and shut you down.
Yeah, it's you're not just stealing someone's livelihood, you're stealing someone's way of providing for their kids, their mental health. Their, like, some people, and I know myself, I use work as like a release break from the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're on a job, but not obviously I've got labourers with me and stuff like that, but there's some days where obviously labourer calls in sick and you know who you are as well. I won't mention no names if you will be watching this, but you know who you are. They call in sick, obviously, and then you end up on a job on your own. But sometimes I find that therapeutic.
Yeah.
Little radio in the background, just chilled, cracking on, and you focus on the job rather than focusing on... It's a way of sort of blanking out. You would never escape it, but a way of just blanking out everything else that goes on in people's lives. And everyone's got their own problems. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's got issues and stuff like that. But with the mental health side of things, especially on this side of things with your tools and that, I mean, I found myself at the lowest of points. Like,
well, obviously we've discussed why it's so fucking bad and why it's so important. Let's go back to it. Let's get into your story, as it were, and let's go to the beginning of that. Sort of like, however far back, I guess, is relevant to jump into your story, as it were, Steve.
Well, I first see the light when I fell out of my mum's... No, I'm joking. No, we'll start off roughly, I say... Bringing up wise sort of thing, again, if you start from when I was really young, if you want to go deep. We'll go deep. Let's go deep, right?
Let's go deep.
Let's go deep.
What I always say, though, Steve, right, because I've had a few guests, let's use one for an example, Kev, Paint Warrior Kev. Obviously, he went through what he went through with being stabbed and recovering, but what I said to him was, there's a resilience there that was built way before that. Yeah. So to me, somebody's sort of like origins are relevant because quite often that's where the foundations are laid.
But it's also nice to know where someone's come from because some of us have had great bringing up. They've had great parents around them, great support and stuff like that. And then again, I don't want it to sound like a sob story because it's not.
It's your story.
Facts. It's facts. Yeah. And I wasn't fortunate enough to have all that. And I had a lot of commotion. I was brought up a lot around domestic abuse and stuff like that. And having to see all that and witness that. And yeah. So without sounding big-headed, I'm proud of where I am today, because to be fair, my missus, Fliss, she is my absolute guardian angel, because if it weren't for her, I would not be where I am today with a company, for one. Just make that clear, and that's brownie points for me if you're watching this. But she was my saviour of getting into the business and starting something, because I'd be in prison right now, 100%. As I said, when I was younger, I was law of my own authority.
Let's get into that then, mate. I mean, you've touched briefly on it, but like, how was, I guess, your environment growing up, school, all that kind of stuff?
Shocking. I got bullied throughout school.
Really?
Bullied every single day of my life, to a point where I didn't even want to go.
Physical, verbal?
Both, beating up loads of time, stuff like that. I got to a point where, I didn't find out I had a different dad from everyone else until I was 13 years old. So my mum married one bloke.
Okay, I was going to say, explain that.
Yeah, my mum married one bloke, which my older siblings come from.
Yeah.
They divorced. She had a relationship with one fella, which ends up turning out to be my dad, but I didn't know at the time. And then she married another bloke with the same surname, but they weren't related.
Right, okay.
Which saved on paperwork, I suppose, because she was already had the same surname. But then he brought me up to be his son. He brought me up from 6 months old.
And that was who you thought was your father?
I still treat him as my dad. He's passed now, bless him. But I still treat him as my dad. He's although he done a lot of wrong, and he wasn't an angel himself, and we're not all perfect, but there's a lot of things I appreciate that he taught me and brought into me, such as like all my love for cars, mechanics, fishing, motocross, stuff like that. Like, he taught me everything I knew. I was 13. My mum told me that. Was 13? It must have been about 11 or 12, actually, tell a lie. She told me that, obviously, none of them was my dad.
What was the catalyst for that? Like, how did that come about?
Just come out one day.
Just one day?
She said, I've got to tell you something. Yeah, I'll never forget it. I was sitting on the sofa. On the sofa with her. And she said, I think you're at the right age. I've got to tell you now. So obviously she knew for a while.
I mean, it must have been a horrible weight for her to carry as well, you know, holding that in. But, I mean, that must have hit you like, well, I mean, how did it hit you?
Fucking knocked me for 6. Sitting there looking at a man, thinking I'm calling him a dad and everything like that. Then actually, you're not my dad. Like, so then your brain goes a million miles an hour. Especially at that age, you start flying in questions into your head like, "Why am I adopted? Who is my dad? What's he like? Is he not my dad for a reason? Is he not in my life? Why is he not in my life? Did he not want me? Do you know what I mean? Your brain goes a million miles an hour." And I was speaking to Scott earlier about certain things, actually, and he said the problem with you, Steve, he said, is that you ask yourself loads of different questions, but instead of tackling them one by one, because 9 times out of 10, if you answer the first question, it normally knocks out the next 3 questions instantly by one answer. He said you pile them all together and then your brain goes in panic mode, which it does. So, yeah, I went into that scenario sort of thing, but I still thought, right, he's my dad, he's brought me up, he deserves that, da da da. And I tried finding him, going through different names, heard loads of different stories of him, stuff like that. So, he was done in armed robbery, he was doing time in prison, he shot a dog, he shot their family dog, and all this lot. It's just, I don't know if it's lies, I don't know if it's truth. I'm still in that undecisive thing of trying to find evidence for it.
Did you ever find your biological dad?
Earlier this year. I'll get into it, yeah. And then, obviously, I tried for years. I even contacted Jeremy Kyle's show and applied for that. But because there wasn't enough evidence of who he was or details to find him, there was nothing they could go on, so the research team couldn't do anything.
That was probably a near miss, mate, to be honest. I mean, Jeremy Kyle would not have been the one, would it?
That's how desperate I was to find him. Because I've got questions and answers I want myself. You know what I mean? I need closure. So, it went on from there. But yeah, then 13, I got kicked out of school. And
for what reason?
It's been a little shit. It's been a little shit. Law of my own, where I was getting bullied, I weren't going in, I was bunking off. My mum would drop me at the school. Oh, sorry, my dad would drop me at the school. And my mum would. I'd beat him home. And I was on a bus and a bike.
But you'd be home waiting for him?
I'd be sitting on the doorstep, yeah. Just didn't like it, because I got bullied.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
You're not going to be in somewhere, if you feel uncomfortable in an area, even now as an adult, if you feel uncomfortable in somewhere, you're not going to want to be there. School was one of those things. Couldn't actually settle. I weren't listening, because obviously I was focusing on what was happening next and stuff like that. So then literature-wise sort of thing, English spelling and all that lot, if it weren't for bloody Siri and bloody spell check and stuff like that, I'd be useless at messages to clients and stuff. I'm still now. I've only learnt this year about the microphone thing on the iPhone where you can talk and say the word, it spells it out for you. And that's a lifesaver, seriously. Like, because I'm starting to use massive words that I'd never ever. This is even funny and I can laugh about this now because I really don't care what people think. I've got to that point in life where I'm like, I am who I am. Fuck ya. If you don't like me, bollocks. I don't care. I'm sorry for the swearing, but I am.
Don't apologise for swearing.
That is me now. I am who I am. If you want to be in my life, you want to know me, you be in my life. If you don't, move out the way because I've got shit to get on with. You know what I mean? So, but even now, I make you laugh like now because still to this day, I still spell it out as big. Elephants can add up sums easily. Even when I'm writing text, I know how to spell it. I still say it in my head as I'm writing it, though. It's just little things like that. But anyway, so yeah, Dad said to me, go back to school or go get a job. And I went, all right, go back to school. Sod that. So jumped on the fun fair for a little while. From there, they jumped on a few building sites. One company, they're folded now, unfortunately. It was a good company. Stoneforce I worked for. Was doing high clientele stuff, so Philip Green, Lady Tina Green, Guy Ritchie, stuff like that. We was doing very high clientele stuff. So I got from there and I was on £7.50 an hour as a skilled labourer.
Okay.
Shit money. By the time you got taxed on there, that was next to nothing. You know what I mean? But it was a wage. And then I approached the owner, Paul Smith. Bless him, great boss. By the way, if you're watching this, Paul, you are a fantastic boss. He was a brilliant guy. I like Christmas dues and that were prim and proper. Like you had like raffle prizes and stuff at the end, and it weren't just like a hat or anything. It was a 50-inch telly, a PlayStation 2 or 3, and like it was serious. It made you want to work hard for it because you knew you got benefits at the end of it, sort of thing. But anyway, and I asked for a pay rise, and they said the company's not in a position for a pay rise, and I went, see you later. And then I started a Facebook page, which was it was SB Builders originally, and then again I started finishing everyone else's work, and I thought actually it wasn't more professional term than a builder. Do you know what I mean? Because I was getting taken the piss out of a little bit for it. And then so we turned it into SB Multi Trade, and then from there we're still here now. So
how long you been going?
Roughly 12 to 14 years, give or take.
Fair play, mate.
Yeah. So when I was 18, I started that. At the beginning, I fluctuated between jobs and stuff, and because it was still new, I was still learning. Didn't really have a full clue of the building game of what everything I was doing, sort of thing. And obviously, you fuck up the first couple of jobs, didn't you, and stuff like that. And I've learnt my lessons from that. But then I've really got into it, sort of thing. I've done bloody door-to-door sales for Love Films. Never forget that. Do you remember Love Film?
Yeah,
you order a DVD online, post it to you, and you keep it as long as you like.
Then you have to put it in an envelope and post it back.
Oh, yeah, I was door-to-door sales and that, and I'll never forget that, because someone's always said to me, people have always said to me, you can sell snow to the Eskimos. Like, I can sell snow to a snowman, and I would talk to him until he started melting, and then I'd sit there and go, do you want to buy some snow? Like, do you know what I mean? But, so even that, my first knock on the door, I sort of watched them a couple of times, because I'm a good watcher. So you've only got to show me a couple of times, and then I've got it. I remember knocking at the door and I got my first sale straight away on my first door and stuff like that. But then I focused back into the building game and, went into there. And, I've done quite a few upper class sort of places. I've done some really nice projects, stuff that I've really taken pride into. And
what's your favourite trade out of them? Like, we're doing multi-trade. Like, what do you enjoy doing the most?
Well, the carpentry side of things is my love. I really love the carpentry side of it. Deck builds. Love a decking. Absolutely, there's nothing better. I thoroughly enjoyed building the decking, and it's really a random one. And obviously, if people have a look on the page, not trying to plug my page or anything,
Mate,
but
away, man.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if people have a look at it, you'll see there's one I've done at my house where I've done what was it, 32 square meters of decking, I believe it was. I may be exaggerating that, tell a lie. I can't remember exactly, but back in my garden with a hand bespoke gazebo and stuff like that. I really took pride in that sort of thing. I've only just started using it this year because I remember building it, when I built it last year, built it, had a week of it, then flew to Turkey and went on holiday, come back, weather was shit.
Mate,
couldn't use it.
Last summer was awful,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Shocking. So it was only this year I really started abusing it and getting me money's worth out of it. But yeah, my deck builds, I love them. I really take pride in stuff like that. I take pride in all my work, obviously. got to make sure those clients are watching. I take everything. I take pride in.
To be fair, man, like it just dawned on me there. Like we were talking about tools and the kind of stuff that you got to have. Being a multi-trade, you've got to have more.
I've got everything.
That's what I mean. You've got to have tools for all the trades.
Everything. Yeah. It's not just a painter. You just have your painting gear. If someone said to you, can you hang...
Let's take a quick break there to thank this episode's sponsors, Brewers Decorators Centres. Brewers have got over 200 stores nationwide. They're the premier destination for decorators, and they stock all of the best brands in the industry. Brewers give the best advice in store, and on top of that, you can get 10% off your first and second purchase, plus trade rates and free delivery when you sign up for a Brewers Pro Trade Card. A massive thanks again to Brewers for supporting the Talking Tradesmen podcast and helping us raise mental health awareness throughout construction and beyond. Let's get back to the episode.
A door, you probably wouldn't have the equipment to do it.
They wouldn't even attempt it, mate.
You wouldn't even think about how to do it, right? We were being multi-trade, you're doing kitchen fitting, bathroom fitting, tiling, carpets, decorating, plasterboarding, insulation, builds, roofing, decking builds, landscaping, driveways, drainage, electrics. You go into everything. So you can imagine, again, I don't want to advertise how much gear I've got, but you can imagine the amount of equipment that you have to have. And that's another thing. Since my van got turned over, how sceptical I am about videos I do, photos I take now, stuff like that.
Do you know what, mate? Is
where my tools are on view, and I don't want that. Like,
it shouldn't even be a worry. But I do this. I've had a few things like trade shows and things. I won't take the van. I would rather now, I've got a trade show coming up in June. I would rather get the train, so I don't have the worry of leaving my van on a hotel car park.
I totally agree with you, but I'm too lazy and you won't catch me on public transport. I love my heated seats too much.
Mate, do you know what? It was only recently. I'd always had a car and a van because I like the split. I know it was a bit of a luxury. When that was the problem, it was a luxury.
It is a luxury,
so I'd got a car and a van, and I would always take the car. But I got rid of the car because I had a bee in my bonnet over the insurance price because they doubled it on me because they reclassified the car.
Yeah.
I had a Jag XF R Sport, which was a lovely motor, dream to drive, and it just doubled overnight. And if I'm honest, I just wasn't driving it enough to warrant the cost. So I had a Transit Custom, got rid of that, got rid of the Jag, and bought a crew cab van, and I regret it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
I love the van. I love the crew cab element, but one thing that pisses me off is no side door for the van. So it means there's a side door into the crew cab, but it's a sealed cab.
Oh, so then you have to double door on the back.
Yeah, so I've got long wheelbase, so I've got a decent amount of room, but everything that's in the back you have to climb over to get to.
Yeah,
so it's just not.
My second van? Yeah, my second van I had, Betty. No, it weren't Betty, was it Betty? It's just mad how many motors I've actually had, and I've named every single one of them. What was it? It was a little Connect, can't think of what it was. Remember, done Tunbridge Wells, let's go buy that. That had crew cab, little Connects, but had crew cab in the back. Yeah. But the sliding doors had it was double sliding, but they had no glass in them.
Okay.
Which was great if you had your pals in the motor and you're getting a bit of road rage. And all of a sudden, the sliding doors open, everyone jumps out there like...
The only good thing is, with the glass and the crew cab, is people can see in and see there's fuck all there.
Except those seats.
Yeah,
there's nothing in that, yeah. I love a crew cab version of it, and hence why I ended up buying the truck. And that was another cost of protection. It's a pain in the arse to work out that. I'm not going to lie.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, it's not terrible, but the reason I got the crew cab is because occasionally I need more than 3 seats. And now we've got the dogs, so that, again, I need the space. But I'm trying to combine a car and a van in one, essentially.
So I've got a car and a van because obviously the missus drives. So then she needs something to commute about in and stuff like that. Pick kids up from school, runs, clubs, all that lot. Take them to birthday parties or whatever else. And obviously I need mine for work sort of thing. But the problem is, again, the car isn't big enough. Yeah. So you'll find that truck gets abused. When I bought it, I think it had 82,000 miles in December. I'm coming up to 96 and I'm 5 months in.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
I've mile munched that. Like, it gets abused, but I'll make sure I get my money's worth out of it. Do you know what I mean? But again, because it's so much bigger, my son, Frankster, bless him, he always says all the time, he's like, we're going out, so I'm going in a truck. So now we're going to take the car today. He's like, oh man, because he's squashed between two car seats with both of the other kids. Do you know what I mean? And car seats nowadays, they're not just a thing like a tiny little thing. These things are meaty.
They're huge.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
Like when I have to transfer it from the truck to the car, it's a work out yourself. So I do feel sorry for him. So we end up always using the truck. You know what I mean? Then Mrs. is insured on it as well and stuff.
I was saying, mate, I love driving the van, but just as a work vehicle, it's not really practical having. You got to clamber over to get to stuff.
But I mean, what do you need? A couple of dust sheets, a couple of paintbrushes.
Fuck off, you'll see the size of these Festals now, mate. Them extractors take up half the van. I'll tell you what.
Tattoos and gold chains on them.
If I put the two extractors, because I've got the big one, the Plane X. So I've got the big extractor for the Plane X and smaller extractor for the other ones. If I put those on my sprayer in, that's it. It's done. Like, they're fucking massive. Yeah.
Bloody hell. That's mad when you look at it like that, isn't it?
It takes up a lot of space. Like, the Transit I had before was perfect. And I thought, because I've got a long wheelbase crew cab Vivaro now, and I thought, I was surprised by the amount of room in the back. There's quite a lot of room. But yeah, it's just the practicality of it, mate. And it's what I've tried to do is combine a van and a car together, and now I've kind of got something that doesn't quite function as a car and isn't quite right as a van.
Yeah, you
now
ain't found that happy medium.
No.
See, do you know what I would love to do? And I've thought about doing it many a times before, but again, because of the tool theft pandemic, I won't even entertain it. But I say I won't entertain it. I thought about it, but I wouldn't ever go through with it. What the Americans do when they buy a box trailer, and they have a mobile workshop, and I thought about doing it all the time because I'd buy myself a nice truck. Wouldn't have to do anything with it, like logically for racking and whatever in the back.
Leave the trailer on the job. Yeah.
Pull up on the job, leave your truck there. And that's it. That's your workshop for the day. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're working outside, the customer's houses. I thought that's a good idea, but the problem is you can't secure them.
No.
And you put in everything in one trailer. It takes 1 feet to turn.
Somebody's got
it on a tow truck.
Do you know what?
Gone.
A mate of mine. A couple of years ago now, at his wedding, lives out in the countryside, not far from here, middle of nowhere. Lives out in the countryside, big barn conversion, and had a big gazebo and big thing for like his after party for his wedding. He had it at his own property in like a field, loads of room, all went great. It was a great event, fantastic. And as part of this, he had these really posh portaloos brought down in a big trailer, and they were like not your standard portaloos. You're talking like glass bowls and nice towels,
glamping ones,
posh portaloos. Anyway, we had the wedding and all that lot, and everyone left and went to bed. He woke up in the morning, portaloos gone.
They come and nick them.
Somebody come and nicked them in the middle of the night.
That's what I mean. You can nick anything now. They'll nick anything.
But it got cameras, and you just see this motor come in, hook up, trailers away, gone.
Yeah,
so you'd have the same thing if you did that with a trailer.
And you're literally just even making it even easier. Because once they've taken the trailer elsewhere, they can take it to the middle of nowhere where no one else hears it. Sound isn't an issue, and you can drill out the locks and grind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like. There's no such thing as an unbreakable lock.
Well, you cut
all these locks that we fit to our vans, our trucks, and all that, alarms and that, are just a deterrent. Rather than actually a safety thing. Like 9 times out of 10, you'd like to think they walk past it and go, fuck me, who's going to walk out on that? I'm not going to touch that. But they don't. No. The first thing that goes through their head is, why have they done that many locks? I'll tell you what, actually, we are going to hit that because he's got loads of shit in there.
When you see what they do, and you see, I've seen the pictures of the doors just ripped off, the roof's cut open, peeled open like a fucking can opener. If they want to get in, they're getting in.
Oh, yeah, of course. The only thing you can do is deter it and try and delay it. I mean, I was very fortunate enough, and I will give them a shout out because it didn't cost me a penny, but TVL approached me when we'd done a thing at Westminster, and they said, she said, we want to look after you. We've seen your story, it's touched us, we want to look after you. So TVL took my truck in, and they've done deadlocks, alarms. I'll know if someone farts in that truck when someone's driving it. Like, the stuff that's in it, I could disable it from my phone. So anywhere in the world, if a truck gets nicked, because they get nicked a lot, kill the engine. Wherever it is, I know exactly where it is. I can unlock it. They've given me so much stuff to make sure that I have a little bit more of peace when I leave it outside a client's house or something. Do you know what I mean? And so I thank them for that. I've sent them all the love in the world for helping me on that, because I would have never in a million years been able to afford all of that.
Fair play, man.
You know what I mean?
I love things like that.
And they haven't asked for any credit. They haven't asked me to do a little social media. You know, like some of these firms, so they're
getting some.
We'll give you this,
TVL,
yeah, Total Van Locks, I believe it is. I may be wrong.
Big credit to you guys.
Yeah, TVL. They've done really well. But so it's they've helped me out massively with obviously trying to secure my stuff. I still take tools in every night. I don't ever leave anything in the truck.
I'm the same, mate.
It's more of my thing of just Because some days we have an odd day, as I call it, my odds and bods day, where it's like landlord jobs and all that lot. Well, I'll have 15 jobs in one day. You won't need everything for every job, but you need something for one of those jobs. So you end up taking a lot of gear out with you, and it's just nice to have that bit of protection. In theory, like if that alarm goes off, it rings my phone, it contacts the police, it tells me what's going on, tells me if it's an intruder, if it's been stolen, if it's been moved, or...
That's the thing with these events, though, isn't it, mate? Like these trade shows, and there's been a few that have all been hit, and the vans are hit on the car park while everyone's in the trade show.
I've got to give some of them credit due. Yeah, they were hit quite a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have changed the way they deal with it. What was the last one I went to? Tool Fair in Ali Pali. They're K9 units and security walking around all the car parks and stuff like that. It was manned.
That's good.
Like, yeah, and it's brilliant. And credit again to them and for these shows. And I think Installer are pretty much the same as well now. Installer do it as well. So credit where credit's due. They are seeing that that's an issue. Let's deal with it and get it sorted. But again, it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have to have 30-odd men walking around with dogs and K9 units.
Sure, Steve, the thing is with me, like, again, if I ever have to take the van, I make sure it's empty.
Yeah.
But I don't want to come back to my door hanging off.
You know, that's the issue as well. It's not even the fact you can empty your van. And 9 times out of 10, vans haven't got windows in the back, so you can't just look in. I remember my first couple of vans, they all had windows in the back. The only thing I'd done was chuck the dust sheet over it.
They used to, didn't they?
Yeah, that's all it was it. But no one ever questioned it, really, did they? And you wouldn't have that worry of someone breaking in your van or something like that. But nowadays, again, like I said, where there's nothing on the back of the van and stuff like that, they'll still hit the van. Yeah. And it's not the fact of, oh, right, great, I've got no tools in there. Now you've got an £8,000 bill for a sliding door that you've got to get, which is on back order because so many vans are being broken into. So then what the insurance does, instead of just repairing the door, write the van off.
Yeah.
Now that goes to get your insurance as well because now you've had to claim.
You're almost best off leaving it empty, aren't you? I mean, leaving it open, sorry.
And do you know what? I had a hire van. So when everything happened with me, which I'll get into sort of thing, I ended up renting a van for a year. And the reason being of that was the deposit was 50 quid. So if my van got broken into, 50 quid. I ain't got to wait around to get another van next day. I'll get another van the same day. If it breaks down, the van's done. It's taxed, it's MOT. I've got no warranty, it's maintained, it's serviced, it's done. Everything's done for you for a certain price a month. So it was like a lease, but on a rental, all right, you're advertising their company, not your own. But like, made sense. And I've played about with the interior buttons and stuff like that on the controls, and I've done it so you could lock the cab, but all the rear doors stayed open. Because it was always empty. If you want to open the door, open the door up.
Yeah. The same as principle as the Arctics that do it, don't they, with the trailers?
Yeah, they leave the back doors
open.
And pull the curtains back and stuff, but they've been cut and stuff. Yeah, it's a sad old world we live in now.
Fucking
I say it's a sad old world. It's a sad old country, shall we say, because we're the only ones that actually have this issue.
Yeah.
You don't get it in America, you don't get it in Australia. Certainly don't get it in Dubai because you'll be walking around with no hands out there. Do you know what I mean? But we're just too soft as a country to...
1,000,000%, mate.
And again, I have to make this clear. It's not the police's fault. It's the government. It's all those high honchos that walk around in suits that are giving it all the spill and stuff like that. And I'll speak from the heart here, and I've got no filter. And I don't care what people think. I will say it as it is. Do you know what I mean? But we've got MPs in Parliament and stuff like that, and they're saying all these things, and we've had it mentioned in Parliament by the Prime Minister himself now. That obviously tool theft is a pandemic, da-da-da-da-da. But at the minute, all we're doing is seeing them speak. We're not seeing no action. We're not seeing no bills. We have got bills coming out, and like Amanda Martin, the MP, she stood really hardly beside us, and she spoke about it a lot, and she has put it in her bill. But again, in the nicest way of saying this, without mugging her off or anything, we all are, and a lot of other people are, just looking at it as it's talk at the minute. Until we actually see action happen, that's when we'll be satisfied. But it's just a load of chat.
Yeah.
It's just a load of chat. That's all it is at the minute. It's so horrible to say because I don't want to sound like I'm mugging them off because I'm not, but it is.
What is something that they can change that will fix it though? Stronger punishments?
Sentencing, stronger punishments off it again, but I very doubt that'll even come in, to be fair, because now we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, exactly. The
country are saying that they're going to release people out, and if you're something under a year or something, they're not even going to bother sentencing you.
There won't be sentences under a year, prison sentences.
Do you know what I mean? Also, another thing they've brought out, Amanda's been trying to get into the bill as well, is that obviously the total costs of it. So when your van gets broken into, for argument's sake, it looks at a scale of sort of like letters and numbers. So you'll look at the letters of sort of like how severe was it? Was it aggressive? Was it not? Was it this, that, the other? And then you look at the other one would be the value of it. And then that's how they judge it in court to give you a correct sentencing. So if I'm say if you nicked you broke into my van but there was no aggression, it'll be Cat D. And then it'll be the value of, I may have that the wrong way around, but just giving you an example, it would be a Cat D, and then the value of it was like 10 grand. That would be like a ranking 3. So then they look that into scale, and that will say tag. You know what I mean? Because not a custodial sentence, it'll be a bloody suspended sentence or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So the sentencing of that as well, they're only judging it on the value of the tools as well. So we're trying to get it into including the cost of the damage to your van, the cost of loss of earnings to you as well, to increase that value so then you get a higher sentencing.
100%, yeah.
Does that make sense? So like if when my van got done over thing, I was completely out of work. Like it's not I didn't have the work, I couldn't physically do it. And do you know what the heartbreaking thing was as well? Because I couldn't do the jobs, I had to return deposits that I'd taken on for big projects. And we all know, as in the trade, we use those deposits sometimes as cash flow.
Yeah.
And to float about in from job to job. Some jobs cost a bit more than you can't sort of say to the client, sorry, it's cost more. They'll say that's not my problem. So you end up floating that cash flow about to try and keep going, don't you? So then I didn't have that cash flow where I had to give all the deposits back. So then I was literally left in nothing. I ended up, I actually posted it, I'm closing the company. That's what I posted. And then, it went on, but yes.
Let's get into it then, mate, because we've skirted around it a few times with what happened to you.
So it was February a couple of years ago. Me and my partner went through quite a bad spell of our relationship to the point where I left home. We thought that was it. It was going to be done. So I was staying in a hotel. I had nowhere else to go. Obviously, she had kids, so that's her house. It's the kids' house. I'm not going to make them go. Do you know what I mean? So I ended up staying in a hotel. I was in a hotel for a little while. And then I'll never forget it. I was doing a school friend's kitchen. Just literally, I just finished helping him fit his kitchen. And so the van was loaded to the brim. I had my crosser in the back of there. I had everything was in my van. My life was in that van. Do you know what I mean? Suitcases, a lot. Pulled up a hotel. Ended up going into London town with another friend of mine to have a few drinks because he said, I'll try and distract your mind from everything that's going on. We're going out for a few drinks. Probably wasn't the wisest thing, to be fair. But as boys being boys, first thing you think of is your mates down. Oh, let's go for a beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been there, man.
You know what I mean? So we ended up going into the city and going out on a night out on rooftop bars and all that sort of thing. And then I come home and I thought, I better get my phone charger out of the van. And I'd done all the precautions that you normally do when you park at hotels. So I was making sure like my sliding door was directly under camera. Doors were backed up to another car, so you couldn't open the doors up. I thought, that's all right, that's sound. And then when I come back, I was walking back towards the van. It must have been 1 o'clock in the morning. It was. I didn't box of screws on the floor, so I didn't open that sliding door. And then my heart dropped. And as soon as I got closer, I see the incision in the door. And I knew straight away, I unlocked that van and I knew, as soon as I opened that door, I knew everything was gone. Everything. And it's fucking, it's fucking kills me now just talking about it. Yeah, it
makes me feel sick thinking, just
hearing
it, mate.
Just turned, it's, everything I'd ever worked for.
So they took everything?
Everything. Literally, there wasn't one thing left. My boxes, they didn't take the boxes, which I suppose is a bit of a touch in some way because they're 50 odd quid each, you know what I mean? But still to the point, it's not principle. But yeah, they took everything. So I ran in, said, call the police, my van's been turned over, Police turned up, we checked the CCTV, it was done at 9 o'clock at night. People walking past them on the cameras, the footage is on my page. Anyone's welcome to have a look at it. They was literally done my van, 22 seconds to get in the van, 4.5 minutes to empty it.
So the whole thing was over in 5 minutes?
Gone. Yeah, people walked past them as well. They just looked so casual doing it. People just thought it was a tradesman unloading his tools at the hotel. Didn't even question it. And even on the camera at one bit, they break into the van, and then because the police station is right literally round the corner from where the hotel was, blue lights come round the roundabout. And they all sort of walked away from it, thinking the blue lights were coming in, and then the blue lights went, and then they come back and unloaded the whole lot. And then they went to they was in a BM, I'm pretty sure it was a 3 Series, on fake plates that were registered to a Mini. And he come back out because my motorbike was in the back of there, my dirt bike. And he come back and he eyed up the dirt bike as if to say, do we get that out? Do we kickstart it and drive it off or whatever? But I think he couldn't be arsed with it, and he got back in his car and drove off, yeah. And then that was it. So the police looked at CCTV cameras of it. Gave me a crime reference number. About a week later, so there was no further action, nothing else to do. So at the end of their line of inquiries was the exact term they used.
Mm.
So then I found myself at...
Had you got insurance?
I did have insurance, yeah. Wouldn't pay out, though, because I was in a hire van, an enterprise van. Don't know if I can say that, actually. I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, I'm sure you can, yeah.
I was in an enterprise van because my van was pulling out of parked in a parking space, and the bloody tipper reversed straight into the side of me. He obviously couldn't set the corner properly, and he reversed into the side of me. But yeah, so that was in getting repaired. So I had a hire van. But my tool cover was only for my van. It wasn't for any hire van or anything else I was insured on. It was specifically for that van. So if I was in that van, I would have been covered, and it would have been a different probably story at the end of this. But yeah, it wasn't. So I lost everything. So
And what roughly value of tools was in there?
this is another thing. The values of tools. When you do, I've done all the media stuff and that. They keep exaggerating it. And that is the hardest thing about it, because I had a mate, I was a very, very close pal of mine.
600 grand's worth of tools.
Yeah, well, a very, very good pal of mine, Mitchell, Fletcher's Paving and Landscaping, give him a plug for his company, because he's a very, very good pal of mine. He phoned me up today, he's like, I need to have a chat with you. I was like, what? My heart dropped instantly. I was like, what? And he laughed, he went, don't worry, he said, your missus ain't cheating on you. I was like, oh, sweet, all right, what is it? Do you know what I mean? And he was like, listen, he was like, we've been watching all your videos and so proud of you, but value keeps on going up and up and up. I was like, oh, I noticed this. So by the time it goes out on telly, there's nothing I can do. It's out there. Do you know what I mean? It's part of the media side of things. But I would say anywhere between, because it's very hard to value, because it's all the other little bits that were in there as well that cost the extra bits as well. But I would say anywhere between the region of 8 to 12 grand worth of gear gone in one hit. I would say logistics. My chop saw, the 305 mortar saw, which wasn't even 6 months old. That's the heartbreaking thing. I saved up ages to get that bloody thing. That was gone. That was 1,600 quid on its own with a stand. So then you look at the rest of the stuff that goes with it. So I'd say anywhere between that, but it's very hard to give a value to it. But yeah. So then I went through a spiral of, and my mates now, my very good mates, Mitchell, Sonny, Colin, Little Legs as I call him, and a few others, like they all sit there and go, why did you not call me when you was at that low? But when you're that low, I didn't want to think about anything.
Well, what was the first thing you did after? Obviously, you've gone through calling the police, so you're staying in a hotel.
I hooked around for a little while. For the next couple of days, I was sort of balancing around, thinking I might get the tools back. I'll give myself hope I might get the tools back, and then yeah, it all just sort of hit me on top of me. And I remember sitting in that hotel room, and I was like, shit, failure. Can't provide for my kids. Am I even a good dad? Shit, I failed in life. I failed. Do you know what I mean? Especially with all my stuff with my partner. I thought I've lost her and all this lot. So I just felt absolutely shit. So I thought I'll go for a walk. So I did. I went for a walk. I was walking for about 3-4 hours, just round. And ended up at the top of a multi-storey car park in the shopping centre, where I sat on the edge. And yeah, nearly took me on life. So I thought it was a day probably being here. I'm worthless. Failed. I'm shit. If I can't provide for my kids, how can I be a dad to my kids? How can I give them a life that I never had? How can I be that partner and not be able to take my missus out for dinners and shit like that? I haven't even got a job for fuck's sake now. You know what I mean? I felt shit. Absolutely low of low. So, yeah. But it was my youngest son, Albert, that saved my life. He had a phone text message come through on my phone. I don't know why I looked at it. Literally, I was on the coping stand sitting. If my arse weren't so fat, I wouldn't be here now. I'm telling you now. So, trust me, be fat. It's a good thing, all right? It is a good thing. It will save you one day, because fat people don't get kidnapped either. But yeah, no. So I couldn't get over the coping stand properly. My arse was too fat over the edge. But yeah, so I was sitting there. Also, probably trying to build up the courage to push myself off as well. To be fair, in a way, I was probably a bit of a pussy in that way as well, to be fair with it. But yeah, my phone vibrated and I just looked, and it was a message. Well, she's my partner, and we're back together now. But at the time, we weren't together. It was a message from her phone, and I looked at it, and it was just a load of random button bashing letterage. And Albert had got hold of her phone and accidentally sent me a button bash message, not knowing that his dad was sitting on the edge of that car park ready to take his own life. And that was my wake-up call. I thought, what the fuck are you doing, you dickhead? Like,
give me goosebumps, mate, that does.
It's horrible. And fuck it, I hate myself for it. I fucking seriously do. Like,
you can't though, Steve. It's in that moment.
I hate myself for it because I nearly put my kids through a fucking situation that was wrong. Do you know that? Nearly got them to a point where they didn't have a dad to look up. They didn't have someone to take a motocross or be fucking stupid and be a dickhead around. Do you know what I mean? I nearly put them through that. And fucking, I hate myself for that. Really do. Fucking hate myself for it. But, on the other hand, I'm here now. And I'm making a difference. And I'm gonna be the best dad I physically fucking can be to my boys and my little girl.
Do you know what, Steve? I've sat here with a few people that have got to that stage that you got to, that nearly took their life, and they say similar things. But don't hate yourself for what you nearly did.
I do. I blame myself for it all the time because it's.
The thing is, mate,
it's
in that moment though.
Yeah, but I think to myself, all the questions my kids would have asked, such as, why did Dad take his own life? Was it me? Was I naughty? Did he not like me? Do you know how many questions, when someone goes through those mental health things, I say this, there was no such thing as normal, was there? But a normal person would sit there and not have those questions run through their head multiple times. But when someone is in that situation, you overthink, and then you think of all the questions that are going through your head as it is, which are fucking a jumble sale as itself, like massively in its head. But then you start thinking of all the questions that everyone else is going to ask and stuff like that. And I've contemplated taking my own life a few times. You know what I mean? But that was the first time I've literally got to the point where I was millimetres away from not being here. And I'll always hate myself for that. So I should have never ever got myself in that state. And I've had things on social media as well. That's another thing someone's saying to me. Don't listen to any of the comments and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, of course I don't. Giving it all the big I am. They fucking dig at me all the time. One guy the other day, how far you must have been a fucking loser for trying to take your own life over some tools. And literally my reply was, so must have the other 7,000 people that took their own lives in the trade industry. They must have been losers as well. Which is true, which is Project 7,000. Like, I'm so that's close to my heart as well, with everything they do with on the tools and stuff. But yeah, man, yeah, that's I'm glad we got the emotional bit out of the fucking way.
No,
now.
Listen. I appreciate you opening up and sharing that, man, because it's hard. It hits hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I had goosebumps with talking about that and that moment. But like I said, I've spoken to a lot of people that have been in that position, and the common denominator is, because there's this thing around suicide where people talk about it being, there's people that will say it's selfish. And it's not that. I get the same response from people, which is at that moment, at that point of crisis, when you're that deep in that darkness, you truly believe
you can't even see light,
and you truly believe that people are better off without you in this world.
I did at that point. Yeah, I did.
It's not from a point of selfishness. If anything, it sounds bizarre saying this, but it's almost from a point of love, where you're like, I'm hurting people. I'm going to remove myself from this situation.
And I won't hurt anyone.
Exactly.
I won't drag anyone down.
So don't hate yourself for getting to that stage.
But that's very easier said than done.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's very easier said than done.
On the other side of it, though, Steve, you step down.
Yeah, that's my main achievement in life. Apart from having my kids, my 3 beautiful kids I've got, but that was one of my other main achievements in life, that I took that step back. And that,
on that day, mate, did you speak to anybody on that day? Did you tell anybody that you'd done that?
No, Like, probably I didn't think I told my missus now. I don't think I told her. Probably about a month later, something like that. And I didn't really tell anyone until a month later. I think my best mate, Colin, Little Legs, I call him, a little Irish guy. Funny enough, he worked with my dad. He was good mates with my dad before he even became good mates with me. And his missus and my missus are very close as well. So I thought, but the amount of times he's said to me, "Why did you not call me? Like, why did you not call me?" And I can see it in him, and he would probably fucking agree as well. Every time he says that to me, I can see it in his eyes. He wants to just smack me straight in the gob to say, "Why did you?" And he just holds himself back for that. And probably one day he will punch me in the gob. To be fair, the amount of stuff I say to him, but yeah, and you do again. You sit there and say, "Did you not talk to anyone?" Stuff like that. But in that moment, you don't want to. Don't want to reach out. But I'm in my words now, and I will say this directly to the camera: is if you find yourself in that position, whether that be due to any reason, not only just tool theft, like family life, financial issues, troubles, whatever it may be, and you find yourself in that point where you feel like that's it, you shouldn't be here no longer, make that phone call to a friend. Like, just talk to someone. There's so many charities out there as well that will help you. But if you don't want to go through that stage of talking, because sometimes it's embarrassing phoning up a mental health charity and saying I'm struggling, you know what I mean? It's not as embarrassing sometimes to say that to a pal of yours because they wouldn't look at you any differently. They'll probably talk to you. But just make that phone call. And also, but it works in both ways as well. You know your mates. I know my mates. I know their routines. Yeah, I know what they do. I know their journeys. I know, again, my mate Colin, I know what time he's coming up one of the roads that we drive past each other in the morning and stuff like that. My other mate Mitch, I know his routine of what he does when he gets up in the morning and stuff like that. As soon as they start noticing they come out of routine and stuff, check in. Yeah, and we all do it. Me, my mate Mitch, Colin, all that. We'll all just, even if it's just 2 minutes on the phone going, "Mate, how are you? You good? You all right? You sure? What are you up to? You at work? All right, sweet. Just doing a check-in. See you later." That goes a million miles away. And do it. And do it.
Yeah, I love that, man.
You've got it.
It's great advice.
It's simple.
Yeah,
it's so simple. But those 2 minutes of your time, you may actually save someone's life. And do you know what? Funny enough, the other week, it was fucking surreal how this all happened. The other week, I went out shopping with the missus because we're getting married this year. So thank you. It's been 14 years we've been with her. Been engaged 9, and I thought, but
just taking your time to make sure you're sure.
I thought I'd better make some fucking life out, basically. ADHD Central, 500 hobbies, and whatever else. Yeah, so I said to her, look, I'm working so hard to get this paid for us. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to go treat myself. And I'm going to book these bloody trainers as we speak now, actually, funny enough. So we parked up the thing, went shopping and whatnot. And as we parked up in the top car park, for some reason we parked on the rooftop. I had all my kids with me and everything. I looked at the car park across the road, which was where I was sitting. I said, "Can you imagine?" I said, "Can you believe it, babe? So 2 years ago, and they took my own life over there." I said, "Look where I am now. That's mad, isn't it?" And we laughed. I laughed it off because I try and laugh about it now.
Wow.
We went and done our shopping, and I come back to the truck, and there was an 18-year-old boy standing at the edge crying, ready to go. About 2 bays up from my truck. And I said to my missus, I looked and I kept on glancing over because I didn't know if he was just geezer in a fag. That's what I originally thought. But as I started getting a better view of him, I realised he weren't smoking and he was crying. I was about to get in the truck, get the kids in the truck. And I walked over and had a chat with him and stuff. It was about an hour and a half it took to get him back off that side at the edge. And we got him some help. We sat him down and I was on the phone to Alice on the tools. She was giving me loads of numbers for help to send him and stuff like that. And he was just an 18-year-old boy. He was I can't think of where he was from, Florida, but he was obviously not from the UK, but he was in college in engineering, doing everything to try and impress his family and his dad and make his dad proud and all that. Not his mum and dad had split up, and Samuel, his name was. And Samuel, if you see this, mate, I hope you're well, and I'll give him a business card as well to call me whenever you like. But yeah, he just had enough. He wasn't understanding of the engineering course. He was struggling, and literally, as God had made me there, basically, I was there at the right time, right place, and I helped that kid back. And that I'd done like I wouldn't call it a good deed. It's just a general thing I thought I see myself doing. Do you know what I mean? But
well done, though, mate. Because some people would have just driven away.
And I don't want credit for that. I'm just saying that it was a mad, surreal experience that it got to that point where someone else was in that position on an opposite car park, and unfortunately I was there. And I had a chat with him, and I told him about my story of how I nearly went as well, and sort of set him right back and brought him out. And then we had the police turn up, and the police took him and took him in to go and get some bits and pieces done and stuff. But yeah, that was another thing. It's crazy. There's millions of people that do that. And as I say, this Project 7000.
Mate, that's...
I was one. I was lucky enough to be that
man.
one person that had that text message, had that phone call, whatever it may be that pulled that person back. I was lucky enough to have that. But 7,000 people didn't. You could bring that into reality. When they done the hard hat thing around London, did you see that?
Yeah, man, I was meant to be a part of it. Yeah, I would say I was meant to be a part of it. I didn't pull it. So I was meant to be part of the team putting the hats out in Birmingham, and then last minute they told me I was going to Cardiff. I was like, yeah, I can't do that.
It was of 500, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But when they had the thing of 7,000 hard hats, and each hat represented a soul, that's fucking bad to see that.
Yeah.
You say a number, 7,000 compared to the population in the UK now, don't sound a lot. And it ain't a lot, really, when you look at it. Fucking hell, strain myself then trying to sit up. But yeah, it don't really look a lot. But when you see those hard hats with your own eyes, well, I didn't. I wasn't fortunate enough to see that. But I can imagine, if you see those with your own eyes, that's like...
What I love about that the whole Lost City project is that visualisation, that is a city that will never... I've explained it to a few people, and when I've explained it, I've said, because that 7,000 would have built a city the size of Cardiff.
Crazy.
That city will never exist. And you see people go, whoa.
Yeah, I've never ever looked at it like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But it's great. It was a fantastic project. I mean, we've... Only a couple of weeks ago, we did the Climb from Darkness. With
I see that. Yeah.
So we raised...
Well done for that, by the way. Well done.
I was buzzing because we started putting out that we were doing it quite a while ago, and I set the target because there was 20 of us doing it. I thought 200 quid a head, like fundraising. That's not bad. Go for $4,000, and we did it, and it got right close to the event, and we hadn't hit the $4,000. Then eventually we hit the 4. Then 2 days later we hit 5. And we were still a couple of days out from the climb, and I thought, yeah, fuck it, let's go for 7, like 7,000 for the 7,000. Actually, I'll take a moment to say thank you now to absolutely everybody that helped, supported. Even if you didn't, even if you didn't donate,
I'm going to take time to say absolutely nobody.
No, even if you didn't donate, even if you just shared what we were doing, but we've raised 7,504 quid, I think it is, for the for Project 7,000. But it was just that symbolic thing, and we did it. We hit £7,000 in fundraising before we even set foot on the mountain, which was great. It was fucking amazing. We were all there. We were there and watching it get closer and closer and closer. But yeah, $7,500, which I thought the symbolism of raising $7,000 for Project 7,000 was amazing. So a massive thank you to anyone listening that helped us achieve that. It was a big thing. But yeah, it's an incredible project. And
I would have done it if I could drive up. I wouldn't bloody walk up there. Bloody hell. I drive to the co-op and I can see that from my front door.
It was harder than I thought. I've done it a couple of times.
Oh.
But one of the things I wanted to sort of make a point of saying about what you said about checking in on your mates, let me just make this clear. Nobody's going to help us. So the construction industry is at crisis. It's the worst industry in the UK for suicide figures. Nobody's coming to save us. No. So we've got to save each other and save ourselves. So if you've got those friends, you can literally save lives just by doing that. You notice somebody's off check-in. You know, we've got to take control of it ourselves. We can't stand back and go, oh, there's a crisis, we're talking about it, somebody's going to fix this. They're not. We've got to fix it. And that's why, you know, like, we took control. We raised that money for these organisations that are going to help us. And when I say we, I'm talking about the industry. We've got to do that. We've got to support things like the Lost City. We've got to support things like the tool theft rallies, because nobody's coming to save us. No. We've got to take it into our own hands.
No, yeah. And I mean, again, I was fortunate enough to have help after as well from all that. When I obviously, so continuing the story, obviously everything went on from there. I come back round, I ended up jumping on with recovery firm because I had no tools.
Mate, you said jumping then.
No. After
that, I ended up jumping.
Yeah, these are my fake legs. Yeah. No. So I ended up jumping on to recovery because I was was in a bit of a sticky bit. I couldn't get a job, couldn't do anything. I've got no qualifications. I've got no GCSE. My CV may say I've got A to Bs and blah, 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 but it was an old school friend of mine that done my CV years ago and just blagged it to make me look good. But, yeah, so I was speaking to a guy I know, a friend of mine, Bud. He runs Bud Recovery in Hertfordshire, one of the biggest in Essex and Hertfordshire's firms, I'll tell you now. A very good firm. And I was saying to him about, I just actually generally messaged him to say about, I think it was a message or a phone call about just saying, could you share my post? Because he's got a very big following, a lot of high clientele, celebrity following and stuff like that as well. I was like, do us a favour, share the thing about my van, because I offered £1,000 reward for the rest of them and stuff like that. And he actually ended up giving me a job. He said, come and work for me, I'll put money in your pocket. So I ended up working for Bud and his recovery firm. I was on that for about 6-7 months. And then I got a phone call. Oh,
you say recovery, you're talking like
car recovery. Car recovery, yeah, just done it because I've got a passion for love for cars, stuff like that. And I've been doing drifting, stunt driving, instructing and stuff like that with different companies and stuff. Yeah, I did a little hobby job for a while, yeah. I was saying all these company names. It's like I'm trying to plug everyone in the video, but I don't intend to, but generally talking. But yeah.
Listen, I'm not against it.
But I'll get into that in a minute. Anyway. But yeah, so I ended up then, from there, funny enough, from there I got sacked from Bud's firm.
Sacked from your mate's firm?
Oh, yeah. Well, it weren't him that sacked me, it was his team, obviously. Had enough of me. They had enough of me complaining about a broken truck, basically. So they sacked me, let me go. But yeah, so I ended up going back on the tools, ended up starting doing like the general little handyman bits, like started building up my hand tool collection. Things that I could do with my own hands, basically. You can hang a door with your own hands, you can fit locks, you can do bits and pieces like put a shelf up, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So I started all that and then built the industry back up. I got a phone call from Southampton police station. They said, we think we found your tools. So you're fucking joking me, like bouncing around like a yo-yo, do you know what I mean? Like well happy. They said they had tracked a guy who had his tools stolen. He had an Apple AirTag in his tools. And they'd done a raid at Denham car boot sale round the corner and they collected his tools. They seized them. And they believe my tools are among those. Can you bring down all the proof of purchase and all that down with you? So with the war, you get a 3-year extended warranty, and I've always warranted my tools. So then you have to put all your serial codes down. So I had a list of every single serial code of my tools, what they were, how many of them, da-da-da. So I flew down to Southampton police station. On the way down, I'd done a shout-out on fixed radio on the Builders, Brad and Sam's breakfast show.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, just got a phone call. I'm on my way to Southampton police station to collect my stolen tools, da-da-da. And then I got down there and they had scratched all the serial codes of all the tools. I'm more than sure most of those tools were mine, but I had no way of proving they were mine.
Yeah.
So I couldn't collect my tools. Couldn't do anything. I couldn't have any of them. Nothing, because there was no way of proving that
What
tool
were the police
matched it.
expecting you to do?
Well, to identify them. They didn't know the serial codes were scratched off them. They didn't even know where the bloody serial codes were.
Yeah, yeah.
So then now I'm showing them, and I'm going, oh, like that. Oh, no, that one's scratched off. Oh, no, that one's scratched off. They were realising I couldn't do anything. So then on the way home, I text back into the studio, and I was like, I couldn't get my tools. I was like, in theory, trying to say to them, don't do the fucking shout out. I don't want to sound like a dick. And they done it anyway. They read them out. And Brad and Sam, they said, we're going to contact you. We're going to ring you after the show. I went, oh, yeah. Of course you will. You know what I mean? And, yeah, they did. They rang me and said, asked me to give them a list of tools. I should have really clocked on really earlier, but I didn't. I was bloody in my own little world, do you know what I mean? Still in your mangled up world for having your tools nicked during that. It's a weird world to be in. And they said they wanted to meet and do some filming on tool theft, which we did. We met at a cafe. My missus was with me. Sat down, had breakfast with them, had a chat, stuff and bits and pieces. And, yeah. And they said to me, do us a favour. They said, can we do a bit more film with you? Can we do a shot outside the back of the van, like open the back doors of the transit, sit you in the van? Well, yeah, of course you can. Lo and behold, a camera rigged up inside, and I got surprised with about eight-ish grand's worth of DeWalt gear they had donated back to me. They got back, and yeah, so they're guardian angels to me. I'll big them up to the day I'm dead. Like, it's,
yeah, massive shout out to you guys for that. I saw that on socials.
We've done a video on it. Yeah, well, they done a video saying it's fucking, oh man. I can't. can't describe that feeling because they don't know, just give me some tools. You know what I mean? Anyone can give anyone tools. But for someone like myself, that meant a lot to me because you've made me be able to provide for my family again. You've made me be able to pay for a holiday.
Yeah.
Buy my kids nice shoes. Like, you've made me able to do shit. Like, I put a smile on my face now because it makes me smile every time. Do you know what I mean? But it's it's a massive shout out to you boys about that. But so they helped me back on my feet, and then from there, spiraled. Started really getting back into workflow again and getting the big jobs back in, and that was the main thing. Still taking all these little jobs. Now I could take back on the big refurbishments and stuff like that, believe it or not, which is crazy. But and then I started seeing Shaweb's stuff that he was doing with Trades. He started Trades United and started seeing these videos and that. So then he done the first protest, and we went to that. I'll never forget it because I remember the hire van company. I was using a hire van then, and they said to me, "No." I said, "I'm taking the van into London. I'm going to be in a protest. Just to let you know." I was like, "Don't put no stickers on it." And that, like, "Nah, of course not. Of course I won't. No." We got to the car park.
First meet up, yeah.
Literally, got to the first convoy point, and they were like, "They're low tack. They won't take the vinyl off." Like, sure, they're like, "Yeah, sweet." Logoed the van right up to the brim. No one's going to see it. It's fine. I ended up on ITV's National News, at BBC News, with their van in the background covered in stickers, and I was like, "Oh no!" But lucky enough, they didn't say anything yet. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so then we done that. Obviously, unfortunately, he done a petition. Got quite a lot of signatures, 46 or 47,000 signatures, if I'm correct. In the space, I think it was like 6 weeks or something like that. And then Parliament folded, which means the petition went with it. But we still done the thing, and I think, he'd done a petition before he'd done the first rally. And then obviously we got talking to that, and then the second rally come out. And that's when I really started jumping on and getting involved, started attending car boots markets as well, car boot sales, and actually taking photos and stuff like that. Got really involved in it and got committed into it. And then, we head into the second one, and Shweb said to me and Frankie, he's like, "Do you mind helping out on the Brent Cross, the main convoy point where we're all going? Do you mind helping out setting up there?" So we did. And then we've just really got in depth and got involved. Started hitting all these tool marking events as well, working with Selector DNA, giving out their tool marking kits to try and mark these tools up, which at the beginning I could understand everyone was like, "Great, mark your tools, then what?" We was like, but then the police can identify your tools. So like, "Is it working?" We're like, "Don't know yet because nothing's come in." But the most recent raid they've just done, they found a load of tools with Selector DNA marking on it.
Brilliant.
Which they've already been reunited back to their owners, like that. So now we're seeing it come into flow and come into motion. It's brilliant. It's a product that's working.
It's a hard one, that, Steve, isn't it? Because it's like, for that product to work, shit's got to go wrong. Like, in terms of...
Which is a shame.
Someone's got to have it nicked.
It's a shame, but the problem is, as I said...
to prove it works.
One van every 12 minutes is getting broken into. So shit's going wrong already.
And how much are the tool marking kits?
So, when we do these tool market events, you can buy them from wholesalers such as like Wix, stuff like that, that's stocking them. There is talks in other merchants going to be stocking these products, but they roughly value around the £60 mark.
Okay. Yeah.
And it marks up to 50 tools. Okay. So now these tools, it works out just over £1 a tool to market. And they're going to laugh at what I'm going to say, Shaweb, and that, but it's a no-brainer, right? And it's a small insider joke. They will be creasing it. Dave Catlow, a lot of them. But it's a no-brainer. But it's a simple thing to do. The first initial thing of marking all your tools, I remember doing mine. Fucking ball ache, mate. You've got to have some time to do it. Because you think when you've got all your equipment and you've got to mark every individual battery, every individual tool, whatever you want to mark.
Yeah. I'm going to pause there to thank this episode's sponsors, Abode Academy. Abode offer practical-based spray courses in Wiltshire and Manchester. They teach airless spraying, kitchen and furniture spraying, UPVC spraying, special effects including metal and workshop refurbishment courses. I myself have been on their airless course and I really enjoyed it. They teach in small groups, so it's a laid-back environment and very hands-on, loads of time on the sprayers. Their courses are approved by the Construction Industry Training Board, otherwise known as CITB, so you know you're getting good quality training. They offer full aftercare support and have their own range of spray equipment, which is top quality at affordable prices, and the aftercare they give is nothing short of amazing. If you're thinking of getting into spraying, you can check out their website at www.abodeacademy.co.uk, or you can search them up at Abode Academy on Instagram, as they post loads of helpful spraying content with tips and tricks. Thanks to the team at Abode Academy for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Let's get back to the episode.
And then you've got to drop it. If you go really into it, like I have, then you notify it on the system. You write all the serial numbers down, the colours of it, what tool it is, all that lot. So then you've got an itinerary of all your tools as well. And so that first bit is really long. But once you've done it, you've done it. And then every time you buy a new tool, mark that, put that on the system. It takes 5 minutes. It's sweet. But when we do these tool marking events, and Schweb hosts us a load. I've got one coming up on the 2nd of June at Rickmansworth, Travis Perkins, on Old Approach. We have vendors come down, such as On the Tools, TVL, So you get a little freebies out of it, bits and pieces as well. But then we have sponsors that pay for these kits. So then we'll hand out 100 free kits. So then you get your kit for free. You're stupid not to go and get your free kit and mark your tools up, are you? You're not having to pay 60 quid for it. So then we've started hosting all these events, and it's going quite good. I think the last event they done was in Sussex, Brighton, I think it was. 157 kits were handed out in one day. So that's potentially, I say potentially because you never know if they're going to mark the tools or not, but we've done the hard bit. It's down to the tradespeople yourselves to mark your tools, and we can't physically force you. But that's 157 tradespeople's tools that are potentially marked. And that's not going into Harlow, where we've done all throughout London. How many kits we've given out in total? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Well done, mate. I mean, listen.
Oh, listen, don't say well done to me, because I am literally, and I've said it to the media, I said GB News, ITV, all the BBC News, I say the exact same thing to you. I am a minion out of the group. That's all I am. I'm just there to try and push and get it going a bit further.
Why do you put yourself down?
Because I'm not putting myself down. I am a minion out of it.
You've said
there's a lot. Look, out of the group, there's loads of us that are all doing our bits and pieces, but for some of them are doing a hell of a lot more behind. Do you know, I was talking to Shaweb, must have been about 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning on the way here. We was having about an hour conversation, and because I'm organising the one in Watford, because this is our. As I said to Shweb, I said, you can't be everywhere at all the times of the day, mate. I said, you've got to do your own work. You've got your family to feed, So I said, I think it's fair, out of the organisers or leaders group, that we all start taking on the reins a little bit and taking on a bit more duty and starting to arrange tour events for ourselves in different areas, which I think's fair, yeah? And we're trying to spread the news a bit bigger. And I was saying to him, like, I didn't realise how much bullshit actually you have to go through to get these events organised. Like, and I said, I am experienced shit that you've had to go through for months that no one sees. People turn up at the trade events and it's all singing and dancing, and we've got fixed radio there with their music blasting, and Makita and Milwaukee or DeWalt or whoever like demonstrating their tools, and we're all having a laugh and bantering and nicking police officers' handcuffs and handcuffing each other and that, just being tits for the day. But it makes it fun. But the main point of it is obviously the tool marking. But me trying to organise this, bloody hell. Mate, the headache. And we're...
Schweb's a man on a mission. I've never actually met or spoken to him, but
oh, man,
massive
you need to
credit,
get him
mate.
on.
Oh, listen, doors open, mate.
He needs to get on because, I mean, man, the work that man's doing, the fucker needs an OBE. Straight up. He needs to be knighted. Like, if we needed another Prime Minister, which we do, to be fair.
We do.
We do need another Prime Minister. Like, he needs to be sacked. He needs a P45 sent for his front door very soon. But Shaweb should be going in for candidate for Prime Minister. I'm not even joking. It's smash it. Absolutely smash it. But yeah, it's he's so much credit to him. Because without Shaweb, we wouldn't be where we are now. And hence,
massive
hence
credit, mate.
Hence why I call myself a minion. Right? It's the best way to describe it. He is Gru.
Compliment.
Compliment. That he doesn't look like Gru. I'm not saying he's got a big pointy nose and he's bald, but what I'm saying is out of all of us, look, we are minions and we're just helping making the whole group bigger and better and trying to all tackle an issue together. But he is doing the majority of the work behind the scenes, and no one sees that.
I appreciate that. And I understand people might be doing more than you, but that doesn't detract from the fact that you are doing your bit. Like, listen, bit, but... Steve, you've come up here today, mate. You've given up your day. You've given up your time. You've driven up. Believe it or not, I don't pay people to come here. So
he fucking does. We've already started. I'm joking. Oh my God.
But you've given it up, mate. And you, like, again, one of the first things you said when you sat down and introduced yourself, you said, "Oh, I'm a nobody." You're not, mate. People know who you are, and your story holds a lot of value and a lot of power, and all you've got to do is keep doing what you're doing. Just by sharing your story, it sounds dramatic, mate, but you could literally save somebody's life.
I was talking to my missus the other day, and I was talking to a few of my pals about this, and it's great. I'm getting a message out there because I've just been the face of it in some way, and I'm the one that sort of just spoke about it, which is great because there's a million people that are going through similar situations to me, if not probably worse. Do you know what I mean? They're having harder times than I am, but they're just not talking about it. So I was just that sort of voice, just to get the word out there. That was my role of sorts. But it's...
Well, that takes balls, though, mate. It takes balls, and it deserves credit.
Oh, no, that's what I was going to say. So. But then it gets to a point where... How many times can I tell this story before it gets boring and people stop listening?
Well, you can tell it as long as people are listening, mate. And you might listen.
I don't want to get it to that point where they're going, "Oh, it's him again."
It's not those. Listen, the way. So there's a few things. Yeah, when I do one of these episodes, I never intend an episode to go out and have 10,000 downloads, 1 million downloads, 1,000 downloads. It doesn't matter to me. It's about helping the one. So as far as I see it, mate, you can come on my podcast. You can tell your story. This podcast has got its own audience. Your story is going to get to somebody that's never seen or heard your story. Yeah,
possibly.
Now you might then go on to another podcast or a TV show, whatever it might be, and they might see you and go, "Oh, I've seen that guy. I've heard this." They can switch off and turn over. But there might be somebody listening to that goes, "I've never seen this guy."
Yeah, you're
and then you connect with that person. So yeah, I understand from your perspective, it might feel like you're going around to these different outlets and telling the same thing repeatedly, and you might think that people are getting bored. But you're hitting a different crowd on every time. And it might be that somebody's listening to the same thing, but there could be one. Could be one. That's all it takes. And
I mean, look, if I help someone at least, I'm happy.
That's what I'm saying, mate. If you knew...
But again, you do have those thoughts. Again, it's part of the mental health side of things. Like I say in mental health goes through a million different levels. Like... Some people might just have a certain little bit of mental health where they overthink things. They're constantly panicking, like an anxiety sort of thing and stuff like which classes into mental health. But then there's other people that are really in a dark hole and can't get out of it sort of thing. And there's different levels.
Of course.
Again, you sit there because you've had that thought when you're read already. You sit there and question it and go, "Am I telling it too much? Am I...
No, man.
Is it getting fucking boring now?" You know what I mean? Are people actually listening? Am I, by me telling my story, am I making it boring? And am I going to sort of take not the highlight away from Trades United and the organisation we're trying to achieve here and stuff, but like, are people going to get so bored of me talking that they're going to just walk away and step away from Trades United and stuff? This is what I'm saying, Russ. People don't realise how much my head, I'm not joking, my head, it's like I've drunk 30 cans of Red Bull. And it's constant, yeah? And it's like... And I'm not advising this, and I'm not condoning it sort of thing. Years and years and years ago, I used to be a big weed smoker. Massive, yeah? And, still to this day, I wouldn't ever go back to it, don't get me wrong, because I don't smoke weed no more. I haven't done for, bloody hell, over 10 years now. I've been really good on it. My missus even said to me one day, she said, "It's me or the weed." And I went, "Well, I'm having you, babe. At the end of the day, you're going to stand by me. That isn't. It's going to cost me." They both cost me money, should I say. But one's going to support me and one isn't. You know what I mean? So I haven't touched it for about 10 years or over. But the thing I used to miss of that is a thing. And smoke, there's probably a lot of smokers that watch your podcast, to be fair. Again, I'm not condoning it because you shouldn't be doing drugs or anything like that. But the one thing, and they will understand what I'm saying here, is a beddy. We used to call it a beddy, and it was your joint before you went to bed.
Right.
But that shut off everything. You went into space mode. That was the best way to describe it. And you forgot about it. You could have fucking 50 problems in that day. But you have that beddy and you zonked out. Do you know what I mean? And I can't turn off, like, last night. I didn't go to bed till about 12, 1 o'clock, whatever it was. My brain's going blah, 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 constant. Do you know what I mean? You're not only thinking about that. Like, yesterday, I was trying to get the boys' haircuts. My phone's ringing off. I'm trying to sort out subcontractors. I'm trying to sort out jobs that are going on. Trying to keep clients happy. Trying to do this. Trying to be a dad. Trying to be a partner. Sometimes it takes a lot of toll. And like Scott said to me this morning, he was like, "You've just got to you've got to take a step back, because it's taken a massive, all of this stuff since this has all happened. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say my social media has blown up, but obviously I've been involved more into social media, a lot more involved with Trades United, a lot more involved with TV media work and stuff like that, which is like really weird because I'd never thought I'd see myself. She says, my missus says I'm the closest to Zac Efron she's going to get now, because at least I'm on telly. I would say we've got the same figure, you know what I mean? But
mate, I did wonder a couple of times I've
been a stunt double a couple of times, but no, like, but even that, I'm worried I'm pushing them away, pushing my missus and my family away with all this social media stuff. Yeah, because like I was saying to you earlier, like and all they see, you see yourself as working. We had this discussion a minute ago. We see it as working, and it is work. Yeah. Marketing, advertising, trying to get your name out there further, booking jobs in, quoting, all this lot, yeah? It is work. All right, don't get paid for every single bit of it, unfortunately, but that's the joys of running a business. But it's classed as work. But do you know what they see? That. Yeah. Like, that's your phone. That's all they see, the back of your phone. I was like... It's actually making me wake up a bit and realise...
It's really fucking hard, mate. It is. Because if you were to... Because you're right, it is work. And we are working, and a lot of running your own business now does revolve around social media. You can't get away from it.
Well, all my work's social media based.
Yeah, and your customers, mate, they don't operate 9 to 5. They're the ones that they might see that post at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, and that might get you some work, and you might have to respond.
Out on that. You can't miss out on that. Exactly. And that is another thing in the trade industry. And I've noticed that if your work comes all from social media, okay, if I could say on Facebook, a lot of my work is Facebook-based, believe it or not, right? 3/4 of the world are on Facebook, and the average time a human being spends on their phone is 8 hours a day on Facebook.
Yeah.
Why are you paying?
8 hours a day on
That's
Facebook.
Mad. That's the standard statistics.
You know.
Average, right? Okay? Of someone sitting there scrolling through. On the train, at work, on the toilet, in the front room. Like, you'll find people that... I even do it. And my missus said this to me the other week as well. She said, you're scrolling through Facebook and you're not even looking at Facebook. You're watching the telly and your thumb's doing that. Like, and it's crazy. It's fact. And there's so many people that probably do it. Like, TikTok is the worst one. You say, I'll have a little scroll through TikTok. Before you know it, 4.5 hours you're sitting into... I wouldn't say that much, but you know what I mean? You lose track of time. But, yeah, it's so hard. But then again, as I say, if that one person posts up, I need a kitchen fitted at 9 o'clock at night because they've had a spare of the moment idea with their husband drinking a bottle of wine in an evening after work, you want to be that first name that goes on that to gain the work. Yeah? And again, it's a race between you and hundreds of other trades that are in the area. Like, we all, 9 times out of 10, all the companies in my local area, we all get on, we all sub-work out to each other and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But again, we all want the work. It's business. Yeah, there's nothing personal.
Of course, yeah.
It's business. We've got families to be. We want achievements. I want nice cars. I want a jet ski. I want a fat house in Marbella. You know what I mean? We all have goals. Not saying I'll ever get any of that, but you know what I'm saying? You want nice things. So it is a race of time. So again, then you find yourself at 9 o'clock at night, you're flicking through Facebook. Someone said, I want a kitchen fitted. You've replied to it. Before you know it, they've messaged you back. Now you've got to book that quote in and get that quote in soon. And then when are you going to book that quote in? Because you don't want to leave it a week, because someone else will probably get in and quote before you. So then you start looking at your personal time of what you was actually going to do, spending with family and whatever else. So not push it aside, but try and squeeze room in so you can get in and quote.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's tough. I mean, here's a little analogy for you. Like, I think nobody would really argue the fact that if you were in a relationship and you spent all your time at work and never saw your missus, that relationship would go down the pan. But if you were to equate every time you're on your phone as being, say, right, for example, say the only place you could go on your social media would be in an office separate to your house, right? So you get home from work, you pop in for your dinner, you walk straight back out the door, sit in your office, and you're scrolling on your phone. You might then be in your office till bedtime. Then you go and get in bed and you go to sleep. So reality-wise, a lot of us self-employed, we don't realise it because we're sat in this. Just because I'm sat in the same room as you does not mean that I'm sat with you in terms of spending any time with you. And I think a lot of us get confused with that.
Presence.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you
want.
You
kind of think that, well, it's all right, I'm home. I've come home. I've been home since 4. Yeah, you've been home, but you've been on your laptop, you've been on your phone, you're organising quotes, you're doing this, that and the other. And actually, you're still at work, mate. And you're still at work until 11 p.m. Then you get into bed and you get up at 6 a.m. and you're out the door again.
So there's another thing I've said to my missus as well. I keep mentioning my missus because she is my best friend, my everything, really. And again, without her, I wouldn't have fuck all. But another thing I say, is... what was I... I've literally just lost it straight off the top of my head there.
Talking about time at work.
Oh, no, it's gone.
Gone. It'll come back.
It's gone. I'll literally just stop you talking, mid-talking. It'll come back to me in a minute. What was I going to say? I can't think what I was actually going to say now.
I don't think we realise. I think that's the point. We don't like... and mate, listen, I am... do as I say, not do as I do, because I am far from perfect. I do it all the time. In fact, me and my wife both do it because we both run our own businesses. But when you're... I've never been an office worker. I've never been behind a
you'd
desk.
never catch me being a pen pusher in my life.
But that's what they do, 9 to 5. And then they go home and they switch off. A lot of us, we do the physical work, then we go home and do an office job. But because we're at home, we think we're at home.
Some of our companies aren't big enough to have someone that's in a marketing team or do your admin and stuff like that. So when you run your own company as a self-employed person, not only are you trying to book jobs in, do the work, arrange subcontractors, arrange materials, quote the jobs themselves, research on the materials, research on products, you're doing 15 people's jobs.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And a lot of people don't realise that. And it's, especially clients. Clients are the hardest to understand that and appreciate it. And they don't. Do you know what I mean? It's
Well, that's when you get the inquiry for a job that they tell you how long it's going to take. It's only going to take you an hour, mate. How's it costing that much for an hour?
Yeah, and I'd say to them, it's only going to take me 6 years now to get over to you because I'm not bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you know what I've started doing with people's quotes? When they question it, have you ever, 9 times out of 10, when I do a quote, if it's a massive renovation, I will break it down normally into phases, but I won't do like an itemised quote because it takes a lot of time and effort. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you sit there and have a client that's like, I know sometimes I'll send them a quote over and it'll have like a list of works of what's going on, do you know what I mean, a breakdown, and then it'll have a materials cost, a labour cost, and that's it, basically. But you've got a list of what you're actually getting done. Does that make sense? Then you get them, can I have a breakdown? Do you know what my reply is now? Sure you can. It's £0 to not do the job, and it's this much to do the job. Which one do you want? You've just got to be blunt like that now, and that's and you've got to start. I've even thought about charging from my quotes as well now.
Yeah.
Because then you sort of take away, you sort of separate the message.
The only reason somebody wants a hugely detailed breakdown is to try and chip you away or save money.
Penny pinchers.
Yeah.
100%.
That's it. We don't. I mean, my quotes that I do in my business are itemised in terms of I list what I'm going to provide, but it's one price. I don't ever break a price.
Nah.
I won't break a price between labour and materials. It is the price. That's it. You know, I do itemise the work, but that's to cover my own back, because if I were to just go in and go, decorate lounge, well, fucking hell, the ceiling came down and then the walls fell down. I ended up replastering and I had to do this and do that and do the other. I've then got no protection because I'm like, well, I said I'd do it. You know what I mean? So when I've got a list of, point 1, apply for all protection, sand walls, do this, do that, do the other. It's, it's black and white, A to Z. This is what I've quoted to do. Anything that ain't on the list is not quoted for. So if something comes up, then we'll have a chat.
Yeah.
But I'll never break the price down.
Nah, you can't. You can't. It's a mad thing. It's mad. But anyway, apart from work, what hobbies do you have? That's a question I've got for you. What do you do?
Podcasting, Steve.
Let's have it.
Podcasting, mate.
Welcome to SB Multi Trade Podcast. Glad to catch you again. Today we've got Russ from Talking Tradesmen. I'll take over, mate. I'm
You
here to
carry
take
on,
the
mate.
game
You
up.
do
No, I'm
it.
joking.
Let's do it.
Out of interest, what hobbies you do? Because this is another one. For tradespeople, I find every tradespeople have a weird hobby.
I don't have any, mate. Genuinely.
You're boring, are you? You're that boring.
I fucking am these days, man. Do you know what it is? This turned in.
I suppose, do you
this
know
was
what?
a hobby that has
It's a
turned
cool
into
hobby,
a.
though. You could call this a hobby.
Yeah.
And it is a bloody cool hobby. It's a
Started
really good
off,
studio.
to be honest, started off as a passion project, and it's turned into this beast that it now is. This is my hobby. Genuinely, this takes up a lot of my time now.
Yeah.
I mean, this week just gone it's not a typical week, but it's not a completely, it's not an extreme week, but I've recorded 3 episodes. So I was in Tuesday or Wednesday evening after work, yesterday and today. So that's 3 episodes, but it's not just this. I've then got the studio set up beforehand. I've got to strip it all down after, a little bit like tool theft. Like, no, I don't leave any of the equipment.
Yeah, of course
in here.
you can't. No.
So this all goes.
Especially not only in Birmingham, anyway. Bloody hell.
Exactly, mate. So that all goes. But then I've got the editing time, the social media, the publishing. It's swallowed my free time, if I'm honest. I used to go to the gym a lot. My training's out the window because this is my free time at the moment.
I'm training for winter at the minute, mate. Bloody hell.
You got to, haven't you? You got to stay insulated.
Yeah, you know that. No one likes hugging a stick at night. And as I said earlier, fat people are harder to kidnap, so it's worth being fat.
It's actually, it's safer to be fat.
It is safer. It is safer. The statistics are there.
Yeah, this is it. You do not get kidnapped if you're fat. But yeah, mate, I'm low on hobbies. I'm low on hobbies.
hell.
Yourself?
Oh, bloody hell. Where do you want me
How
to
long you
start?
got?
Yeah, where do you want me to start? So I did a hobby job, as I say, of drifting and stunt driving instructing. Instagram page is Sideways Steve 7 if you get a chance.
Sideways Steve
Sideways
7.
Steve, yeah, you'll see someone driving on there. It's a bit lunatic.
Check that out, man.
Well, my pals, let's put it this way. My pals say if we ever do a bank job, I'm driving.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I love driving. That is my mental health release, drives. But it scares me sometimes. Because I go on drives, like, there's country lanes where I'm out on the sticks. I'm literally bang on the lanes. And I can do those lanes like Colin McCraig and pitch black, no lights. Like, honestly, I've had people in the car with me, and they might as well be going 4 left, 5 right, hairpin, short bend, blah, literally. It's like all the way through it. But I come back from those drives knowing I shouldn't have come back from those drives. I'm not proud of saying that, but I've been on drives that I should not be here talking about right now. Like, I come back and I have to sit outside the house for like 15 minutes because I'm just like that, with adrenaline, like full on shaking. But I love it. Knowing I'm that close to death, I get a massive buzz off that. It's really weird to say, but yeah. It's not a proud thing to say as well, I'll probably say. I don't know why. I'm just like an adrenaline junkie. Absolute adrenaline junkie. So yeah, I started off, again, when I was younger, learned to drift, Andy Arnold. I jumped on and volunteered to do a couple of days with him to try and get into that sort of scene because I love all my cars. I've been brought up around. Me and my dad used to restore Mini Coopers when I was a youngster.
Have you got a car other than have you got a drift car or?
Yeah, I've got a drift car and then I've got a family car, which is 280
What
brake.
do you use for drifting?
BMW E46. Old school 46, stripped out, bucket seats, hydros, all that malarkey. Just bought it as a thing. I've had a couple of drift cars, to be fair. Last one I wrote off.
And you've got a 280 brake Quattro as a family car?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's good fun. It's good fun. Kids love it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
Kids are set of lights and they're
what model?
Like Audi Q3 with a 2-litre TFSI, which is the same engine as a Golf R. There's only a couple of components that are different.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stage 1 Plus remap on that. It's 280 brake. But give or take, should I say, just mainly that number. But yeah, it's dipping. Many kids are like, Daddy wants a racer. My missus is like, no, don't do it. I'm getting out the car before I've launched it already. I'm off. And yeah, the kids love it. They're adrenaline junkies as well. Even the truck. I've drifted the truck so many times. And the boys love it. Like, send it, Dad. Sideways. And she's going, don't shoot, Dad. In the car. But yeah, it's a thing. So yeah, I jumped into that. And then started instructing and stuff like that. So we do it all over the UK. Round the corner, Stafford, round from here. We've got Stafford Driving Centre. We do stuff there. Dunsfold to secure the place in Wales. So we've done all that. But I do it for a few different firms. I've done a few firms. Everyman Racing, stuff like that. Doing like red letter day. So if you go and get paid to go do a Ferrari, I'll be your instructor in that Ferrari and stuff like that.
Okay.
Take high speed laps and stuff. Yeah, we've had some good. That's good fun. It's a good fun little hobby job. And then motorbikes, I've loved my crossers. ever since I was young. So my dad got me on my crosser.
So, mate, the adrenaline's there, innit?
We love it. So, yeah, we've got all crossers. My 4-year-olds on quad bikes already, flat out. 8-year-olds on dirt bikes. And, yeah, and then fishing. I ain't done fishing in years. As I said, we're going away next week over the half term, and it was just out of pure luck. Pure luck. There's 3 lakes on the thing, so sod it. We've got all the fishing gear ready to go. I'm going to take the boys out fishing for the first time because they've never been. So,
nice, mate.
But yeah, try and do. So yeah, I'm like at ADHD Central. Like a bit of gaming as well. Don't know.
Years ago, mate. Honestly, like me myself. See, I was always football sports.
I've never got into football.
I was sports. Age of 8 till 30, I played football. Hit 30, had a couple of bad injuries, dropped out. My son started playing football, so I was taking him to watch him play instead. I always said I'd stop once he started because I was never going to miss his games because I was playing.
Of course, yeah.
So started following him. Got into cycling for a bit once I stopped playing football to try and stay fit.
I used to BMX quite a lot when I was a kid. Like
I'm talking like long distance road bikes. Yeah. Long distance road bike, and then used to train a lot. So that was my thing. But again, mental health, that was my release. I find it meditative. So the way I think of it, a little bit like yourself, I've got a very active mind, always thinking about this, that and the other. And going to the gym for me and lifting heavy weights, never used to do a lot of cardio in the gym, it was always weights. But when you're lifting something that is at the limit of your limits, as it were, in terms of weight, you ain't thinking about nothing else.
Nah.
You're just thinking about not dropping that on your head.
Yeah, do not get squashed. No one's
basically,
me.
where are my toes?
Yeah.
And that was it. It was my bit of peace, which, if I'm honest with you, this does that. And the reason I say that is because although my brain's still going, when I'm having a conversation with you, I'm just thinking about this. My phone's over there on site. I've said this a few times,
Do you
mate.
treat this as like a therapy session as
Yeah,
well?
it is. 100% it is.
Yeah.
There's a few things, Steve. I learn a lot, mate. I learn from every guest that comes in. I've learned about you today. I've learned, that moment. I'll think about that later. The moment you were talking about, and it gave me goosebumps, and it just gives me perspective. Changes the way I think about things. So I'll learn from everybody. But yeah, it's therapy. I get to talk about things myself. I get to learn. I get to think. But there's not many times in life now where you will ever meet somebody like I hadn't met you before today. If I'd have met you in any other environment, it would have been a quick, "You all right, mate? How you doing? Yeah, business good? Yeah, blah, 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 blah." Even if I met you in a pub, odds are you'd have had your phone in your pocket or your hand. I'd have had my phone in my pocket or my hand. One of us would have probably checked it within 5 minutes. How often do you ever meet somebody for the first time now and you put your phone on silent, you stick it down, and you go, "Right, I'll sit down with you for an hour or two."
Because as soon as you sit down, and normally 9 times out of 10 you say that, it's spot on. Because as soon as you say that, honestly, if you go to the pub, you meet someone the other time, you instantly, "Have you seen this?" And your phone's in your hand already. Have you seen the latest job I've done? Have you done this? Have you seen what that person said?
Well, if not, mate, it's on the table. It's face up. The notification ping, light up, flash, flash.
And it's really weird for me now, even now, right? It's weird saying that because my phone is over there on silent. I know my notifications are going mad in my head. No doubt I've probably had my missus call me as well saying the kids are being little twats or something. Joys of having kids, eh? But it's semi sort of killing me. Not.
Yeah.
It's like an addiction.
Mate, it is an addiction. It's not like an addiction. It is an addiction.
It's an addiction that phone is not in my hand.
But
And it's weird that I've only should have to experience that now. My missus has been saying about this for years. It's you're addicted to that bloody phone. You're addicted to it. Blah, 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 blah. And you sit there and go, "Shut up." You know what I mean? But now this has really made me open up because I'm like, fucking hell, maybe
I am.
Maybe I am some crackhead with an iPhone.
Do you know what those? So I'm my generation, mate. So my old man was a drinker. I pretty much grew up in a pub.
Yeah, mine was all.
And that was before phones. Yeah, so mobile phones did not exist. I still remember being in the pub when the pub had a landline and that phone would ring and the barmaid would be like, "Tony, it's your missus. Are you here?" And he'd be like, neck the pint and gone. That was the only way people... But what that meant, though, mate, is when people went to the pub, to the boozer, conversation.
And that was... We was talking about this with someone else the other day, actually, about... Do you remember... Well, how old are you?
40, mate.
40. So you've got about 45 years on me. I mean, no, I'm joking.
That'd be something.
No. You're only a little bit... You're older than me. So, as a kid, like... Again, we didn't have phones. 0800 reversed your mum on the bloody payphone and went, "Mum, I'm by KFC, come pick me up." And that was it, quickly before they played it over. But to go out with your mates, you rode round. You knocked at your door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You knew if all your mates'
Knocking
bikes
on.
were outside someone's house, you knew that's where they were.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. And you knocked and asked us,
Mate,
you asked if they could come out and play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you've done stuff. You didn't need technology. There was nothing like that. Like, you'd be lucky if you had a games console.
Well, I've even recently, like, I've gone out, Worcester's a nearer city here, so we're sandwiched in between Birmingham and Worcester. Worcester's nicer, so I'll go out in Worcester. And I've been out and you look around and I've seen groups of young lads, 18, 20 years old, and they're in a bar, in a pub, and they're stood there pointing one hand, phone in the other, and they're in this little circle, and they're all looking at their phone, and then you get the occasional, yeah, it's in that, and then they're back.
My father always says to me, if he like comes over for a barbecue, if we go to his house or whatever, if someone brings their phone out, there's a little thing we say with each other now. Someone brings their phone out at the table and looks at something while they're in that group, you get instantly, we boring you. That's what we get now instantly, every time. And he done it. I'll never forget the first time I clocked him doing it. He pulled his phone out. I went, oh, we're boring you. I was like, yes, point scored. I got him. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah,
it's true, mate. It's something we're going to have to navigate. I'm getting my words out. Navigate.
What's that?
Fuck knows, man. It's something we've got to navigate. It really is. You see these things like initiatives where people they go out for meals, they put the phones in a bowl or whatever it is. Well, that's something else.
But yeah, I was going to say, bro, what events you been going to? Yeah. Car keys have gone now.
It's the keys you got to worry about. Yeah. Phones are all right. Yeah. But yeah, man, just a genuine connection and conversation that hard to come by now.
Yeah, and it's good. And I think what you've got going on here, Russ, I think it's something magical.
Thank you.
Because and you should be patting yourself on the back, like, because although it's something so simple, it's making a massive impact into the industry of everyone that's going on. And as I said to you yesterday when I texted you and I said, are we still all good for tomorrow and stuff like that? You was like, yeah. I was like, sweet, I'm going to treat it as a therapy session. It has. I do feel lighter.
Good.
Sitting here. And that's crazy to feel like that. And I never thought, because loads of people have said to me previously as well, like, why have you not done therapy sessions? Maybe you should try it and all that. And I think, bollocks, am I sitting in there listening to some geezer going, well, tell us how you feel and all that. As a man, you think, as our generations, and I've said this plenty of times before in interviews, as a generation, we feel we have to be that hard character, that non-emotional, just be a man. You've got to show strength. You've got to show loyalty. You've got to be, you know what I mean? You have that role model. So you ain't got time to sit there and tell some geezer about how you feel or stuff like that. So, and I feel like now I feel better because I've been able to let her cry. I didn't even cry at my nan's funeral when she was there. Do you know what I mean? When she was dead. Like, you don't, that's how I was brought up. You don't have emotions.
Same.
You know what I mean? You were showed, if you showed emotions, you were weak. That's what I got told.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So now be able to sit here and like have that little cry. You know what I mean? Like, then be able to talk about things and stuff. It's actually quite a nice feeling.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad you feel that way. And it goes the way, the whole mission behind this is because I feel like, well, if you can do that and I can do that, and we can sit here as two blokes who stereotypical, like, building industry, alpha male builders, you know, like you said, big, strong, silent. But if we can demonstrate you don't have to be that way.
You can have a chat. That
you can talk. And if you're struggling, just have that fucking conversation. And hopefully somebody out there listening would be like, well, actually, like, they speak about it, must be okay. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, you're bang on. Absolutely bang on.
But mate, again, a huge thank you for your story, for opening up, because it adds to the value of everything that's been done. It's a conversation that I haven't actually covered yet in terms of tool theft. So again, I thank you for coming in and talking about that, and keep up the work on that, because it's fucking incredible. Yeah, and again, if I can just do a shout out for that tool marking event we've got 1,000,000%, yeah, carry on.
2nd of June, it is at Travis Perkins in Rickmansworth on Old Approach. Come down, grab your free kit. We've got On the Tools going to be there, TVL, The Wart are actually going to be there, showcasing some new tools and bits and bobs as well. CT1. Obviously, you've had Nicola Walsh on here and stuff like that. So, yeah, they're big. Great. I tell you what, CT1 are massive supporters.
CT1 are great, mate. They support everything in the trade. So
I've got to appreciate them for that. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah, so come down, have a laugh, have a crack, be a twat for a day with us. Do you know what I mean?
Go on down.
Get your tools marked and we'll have a laugh.
Before we do move on as well, a big shout out to the Jackals, who are also the mysterious, secretive Jackals.
I'm not a jackal. Don't even start giving me all the messages. I am not a jackal.
Which is exactly what a fucking jackal would say.
I don't know about that.
To be honest,
Don't
exactly
know about
what a jackal would say.
These will be released soon, though, just to let you know.
But yeah, big shout out to the Jackals for supporting it with the Don't Be a Fool, Mark Your Tools range. As you
Love
can
it.
see.
It's great, isn't it?
It's very subtle. You might not be able to. I don't know whether the camera will pick that up because it is quite subtle in terms of the colours. You know, it blends in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that bright, is it?
No, not quite bright enough, mate.
They're quite good, though.
Maybe, yeah. It's
Quite
mint.
good.
It's
Not bad
mint.
for a jackal, is it?
But go and check it out. Go and check out the Jackals range. Show your support. Support the initiative and all the rest of it. That's what
Also,
it's all
have
about.
a look at
like I
their
said.
have a look at their spotlight. They do a spotlight thing on Jackal website. Have you not seen it?
Spotlight.
Yeah.
No.
So they do a similar thing like this, but a blog about
Okay.
companies. You'll find myself on that company, on that blog as well. But about people's stories and why they got in the trade, and they get asked random questions. You could showcase their work. You can see what work they've done. And there's a link in there to see their profiles.
I've not seen it, mate. Go check it out.
Have a
Yeah,
look.
absolutely.
So if you have a look at the icon, you'll see it says Spotlight. And you'll
About time they should be doing a spotlight with me, really.
yeah, you never know.
So,
You never know.
Get myself on a spotlight. But yeah, go and check out those guys. Again, incredible work they're doing with the whole trades community. So big credit to them. And yeah, is there anything we haven't covered that you wanted to mention, Steve?
No, not unless you've got anything else to ask, mate.
No, I think we're good. There's been
good.
there's a lot to digest and process there. So big
Get
value,
out.
man. Fuck out of here.
Get
No,
out of my
mate,
pub.
door's always open for round 2 down the line. I mean,
100%.
it looks like you've got some big stuff coming up, mate. It's all always.
100%.
always
Oh, do you know
happy
what would
to-
be really nice? I think if we can, we'll have a word with the lads. We should have a Trade United one.
Mate, that'd be mint. Yeah,
Get a few of us.
100%.
A few of us. And do you know what? Really, what we're trying. I say me, should I say? I would love to get a debate on the go and have people that don't believe that power tools should be banned from car boot sales. I know Trade Legends done one. Am I correct in saying they done one with the geezer and Schwab?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a few other people, and maybe even a car boot organisers. Maybe have one or two of those, but not to get like heavy-fisted and like.
Yeah,
you know
mate,
what
a
I mean?
debate is a debate,
But
isn't it?
get a good
Conversation,
because
yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of understanding between the two. Obviously, a lot of people sit there and think we're going into another conversation now. We've just tried ending it. We're going into a conversation, but yeah, a lot of people sit there and think that we want to end all power tools and all that. Lot. Different story with Jack's got his bloody old Makita set or a couple of power tools his granddad handed down to him selling to Pablo down the road that's got 30 Milwaukee impact guns, 7 chop saws, this, that, they're nicked. You know what I mean? So I think that would be a good one.
Mate, I'm open to that. I was saying before, I want to.
Even though I've got to start my own podcast, bloody hell.
Listen, the platform's here. I'm open to it. I've been saying a few times I do want to open up and start having some more different, like bring the sofa over, sit down with 4 people, have some different conversations, bring in some professionals, and then because what I want to do is perhaps start bringing, like a mental health professional in a particular thing. Say, I don't know, somebody that specialises in childhood trauma or anxiety or depression or addiction, and then sit down with somebody that's been through it, who's in the trades, and have that different, dynamic between people where you've got the advice and then somebody that's lived experience, and then me to sort of conduct, I guess, the conversation, as it were.
The organ grinder.
Something like, mate, I ain't got a fucking clue what I'm doing. I've winged it all the way to here so
You
far.
and me both for the company a lot.
Somehow, here we are on your screens.
Yeah, here we are. I'm joking,
man.
by the way, to the clients. I've got renovations going on. I've been in the game. I'm professional. I'm not blagging it. I swear I know what I'm doing. Even though half the time it don't look like it, I do.
He does.
I think I do.
Steve, it's been a fucking pleasure, mate.
No,
I really
mate.
appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate you having me on.
Before we wrap up completely, a big shout out to the Funky Peach for providing the guest merchandise. Shout out to Steve, Uncle Matt's hat. Do you wear hats?
Do I wear hats?
Do you wear hats, caps?
Not really. My boys do, though. My kids do.
Shout out to Steve at Uncle Matt's hats. Steve will be taking one of those away. And yeah, thank you all for watching and listening. I'll catch you all soon on the next one. Oh, I won't actually. Steve, where can people find you? How'd I fucking forget that?
Well, I don't want you turn up at my house. You ain't finding me there.
You don't need to address me. Social platforms.
Social media, Facebook and Instagram at SB Multitrade, at S.B Multitrade. Some people get it confused.
As always, listen, you've watched and listened to enough podcasts by now. You should know that Steve's details will be in the description below. So wherever you're watching or listening to this, scroll down in the description. You'll find a link to his socials. Go and give him a follow and support everything he's doing, because it needs that. We need to get behind each other and support these initiatives that are there to support ourselves and you, those listening. So, yeah, again, thanks for listening. Catch you soon on the next one.